Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our English broadcast of the Chinese LPL playoffs. And I'm Max Alice Anderson, this is Jake Spawn Tiberi, and I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed, I'm not going to lie to you, because OMG are taking on LGD, and there are so many fantastic storylines to go along with this one. And first one I want to note, Imp versus Uzi.
Yeah, it certainly is probably the easiest to pick out here, Atlas.
Yeah.
The rematch between last year's world champions now in probably the most important game for these two teams, at least, in the season. And Imp, he's been having some fun lately. Uzi, he's still been going very seriously, but I think that when you turn this rivalry back on, Imp will be able to step right back up.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and we've been seeing some very interesting things from especially LGD, like you mentioned, and OMG have been doing sort of a similar tactic, but instead of playing with their picks, they're playing with which players that they use. So we'll see exactly which OMG lineup we're going to see heading into this playoff match, because this is where it all gets serious. Now is when it's all on the line and they have to pull out all of the stops, and we'll see whether it's because they've been hiding playstyles, hiding strategies here, or whether, look, these teams have been playing seriously the whole time. We just got it wrong.
Yeah, exactly right. We'll have to see what they go with.
Misfortune might still be the pick.
We'll play in the top lane, at least for OMG, if we're going to talk about players. I think the one area that OMG can mix up still is the support position with Young, with Cloud being able to go in there. See who they would like to pair with Uzi.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if San subbed in either for Going or Uzi throughout the entirety of the playoffs. I think that they're pretty confident with their top laner and their AD carry player. If we move across to the picks, as you were going to say, Misfortune, that was definitely not something that we'll see again. What I want to see if it was serious was PYL on that Bard, because first time he played it, didn't go very well, but the second time, I was actually rather impressed.
And his Tempered Fates were incredible that game as well, being able to set up a whole lot of kills. But let's go through the OMG lineup, going there in the top lane, playing those tanks, and Loveling. Last game on the Nidalee was interesting, but has had a solid performance this season.
Yeah, it certainly has. Loveland is solid. That's what you could probably put him down to. Very good tank player. We see Cool in the mid lane. The star player for me on this lineup. Uzi, he's pretty consistent, but they tend to win when Cool does well.
Yeah, when Cool gets going, it's very, very frightening. And we've seen as well, he's got a massive champion pool there in the mid lane. And Uzi here, he's been playing the Vayne again. His Callista is terrifying, almost permabanned against this guy. I doubt we're going to see it. But Uzi has impressed me the most on Lucian so far.
Yeah, he certainly looks good on the mid-game carries, and you see they're starting Cloud this time. I like it. It's an aggressive pickup. Uzi and Cloud seem to have the best mentality going into these games together. Very much on the same page. They want to dominate lanes and spill that over to the rest of the map, so we'll see if they can get that going. But you mentioned Uzi. He would have been looking on so enviously yesterday as Woosh got to lock in 5 back-to-back-to-back. I'm not going to keep going. Vayne games.
There are a lot of Vayne games, yes.
With the tank meta, especially if LGD only run a solo tank on Acorn, expect Uzi to also want to pick up Vayne.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether he can. And he's played a lot of it here in the LPL in the start of the split, and it wasn't that impressive. That's the thing that I'm finding really interesting, is the fact that Uzi was known originally for his Vayne. Of course, got that incredible pentakill there, pairing up with Insect's Shaco earlier on. That was a massive play. And oh, hi, Colette. Hi, I'm cool. How you doing? And we'll see whether he's going to pick it up again or whether he's able to.
Yeah, and the one thing you have to think about players like Uzi, like Imp, you pretty much at this point throw this season out the window. It's nearly the Dade effect, because it's playoff League of Legends now. These are the big games. And you say he hasn't maybe played so well on Vayne. I'm not going to take any of that into consideration. If he gets Vayne, look for him to be very dangerous, because he's shown time and time again that he has completely mastered the champion. Wouldn't even be surprised to see something like a Caitlyn come through, just because of the fact that in these games, everything's a little bit different. You need to really win lane, and LGD, they're playing Acorn in the top lane, so not going to have a game with Flame first up, but I expect that that would probably be the sub that they make if they would like to. And FLICKR, that's such a power pick at the moment.
Yeah, it's gigantic. TBQ as well has been mixing it up. This last Jarvan pick, we've seen a lot of Cinderhulk Jarvans do a lot of work. Of course, he played Warrior into a whole lot of damage items in that game, but we'll see what TBQ is going to bring out in this one. And Godv, this is the guy that I've been super impressed with. His Orianna especially has been incredible.
Yeah, it certainly has. The artist formerly known as Wayless coming through there as Godv. He's Orianna with that tier into, I think that he builds the Leandry's Torment as well, is very impressive. And we'll see. That's Imp. His Twitch, that was a game that really made me smile. Imp is a fantastic Twitch player, and if he gets any team fight AD carry, he's just able to wreck games.
Yeah, and unfortunately we don't see his Ash game or his Misfortune game there in the match history, but has of course gone through a whole lot of the AD carries. We'll see what he's going to settle on here as far as what he's going to be comfortable with. You can see Bard there in PYL's play history, and they've been mixing it up over the side of LGD, and it does really make you wonder what the target bans are going to be through here, because of course OMG and LGD, they may have been scrimming throughout the week, but they may have stopped here based on this game.
They definitely wouldn't have been scrimming each other. Generally you scrim on different sides of the playoff bracket so you can dodge your opponents through to the grand final, and then after that you only scrim teams that get knocked out. So would not expect these guys to have much visibility over what they're playing. As you mentioned, OMG especially, they hit everything from about week 10. They shut up shop completely.
Yeah.
As soon as EDG opened up that huge lead, didn't really matter whether they finished second or third. They were comfortable in that position. It was a very long way to fall down to fourth. So they legitimately hit strats, I feel, for half this season.
Yeah, they certainly have. And OMG has, of course, like they had success on the support Maokai there. Of course, Low not on the lineup now as well. They've done very, very strange things moving through, and they opened up very, very strongly, though. They looked like the best team in the world at the beginning of the LPL split, and that might be exactly your point. It might be the fact that they sort of just have wanted to wait until this stage.
Yeah, and we'll see whether that is the case. One scary thing about playing that kind of League of Legends is it's just not a switch. You don't turn it back on all of a sudden and become a superstar team again. And you look across OMG's lineup, the all-Chinese lineup, and they are just strong in every single position. But the same can really be said about LGD. They've come together very cohesively as of late, and this was a team that Imp wanted to play with PYL. Acorn joined because of that reason as well. You've got arguably the best carry top laner of nearly all time sitting on the bench for this lineup. They're that good at playing the game, so we'll have to check it out.
Yeah, we will. And let's go through the most picks here as well and going there with the Na'N. 9 pickups, 89% win rate. That's insane. Cool, exactly the same there with the LeBlanc. And Uzi, this is the thing that's very, very interesting, is the fact that his Sivir is actually his most played champion.
Yeah, it certainly is. But the one thing I want to point out there is Loveland's champion pool. You see all three no longer meta pickups. The Jarvan, the Rengar, as well as the Lee Sin. If anyone has been hit by the recent patch, it might be Loveland. He may have to go back to the Nunu, things like this, and just default to early tank picks.
Well, I mean, TBQ, he's in a very similar boat here as well. He's been playing some interesting things throughout the most recent times. We'll see whether he has transitioned over to the more tanky meta as well.
Yeah, we'll see whether that does work out. Acorn with the Rumble games and the Cannon. So funny seeing Cannon in his most played just because of who is on the bench position. But you see Imp, he also played a lot of Sivir at the start of the season, but he has that Graves in there, and that is the pick that if Uzi pulls out the Kalista, pulls out the Sivir, I expect Imp to go straight back to the Graves and try and dominate the lane.
Yeah, and we saw this in the last times that LGD and OMG met up. Of course, 75% win rate over OMG does LGD have. So we'll see whether it's going to be the same showing, because Uzi did get dominated by that Graves in that lane.
Yeah, he certainly did. So I think that is the power play that comes through. If they can take it to the 2v2 lane, and if anyone can, it is Imp and PYL. Don't get me wrong, Uzi and Cloud are a fantastic lane, but I just think that Imp is really good at the moment, currently. That will be the deciding factor for me. I expect a lot of lane swaps to come through for exactly that reason.
Well, we'll see exactly what lanes are going to shape up, but I do like the Urgot ban immediately, just so that Uzi doesn't get just removed from relevance in this game. And LeBlanc is going to be hit as well. Cool, not going to be playing that one. Of course, Godby probably would have liked to pick that up as well, but being on the red side, you don't want to let that one go through for a first pick. And this is interesting, the Kassadin ban spawn.
It's just a respect ban to Godby. He's shown that he can play it. And once again, they're removing things that get rid of one of the threats before a team fight starts, because of the fact that if that goes through, then it just hurts both the teams so much. If Imp gets picked by Cool's LeBlanc, he's not going to be able to impact.
Yeah.
Same thing with Uzi. If he gets swapped into the middle of a team, that's going to really hurt the overall game plan that these teams are going for. So it looks like they're just taking away the single target assassins.
Well, Sejuani is going to hit the bench as well. Of course, Loveling hasn't played a whole lot of it, but definitely a power pick at the moment. We'll see what OMG do to round out their bans. So far, there are a few things still left open. None of these Nunu bans have come through just yet. Of course, Lulu as well has seen some attention in that front. And my goodness, it is going to be the Trundle ban away here, and going probably looking to play one of those super tanks there in the top lane. And you think it might be the Scion, maybe the Maokai first pick?
Yeah, certainly probably the Maokai first pick. That's why people are getting rid of the Trundle a lot. It also means that they might want to run one tank, so they're looking to get Loveland onto maybe not as an aggressive as a tanky member, because the thing about Trundle actually isn't fantastic against two tanks, because generally tanks are very good at peeling, and he only shreds one. Against one tank, extremely good, but wow, that is an aggressive first pick. Going for the Hecarim, I like this. Probably one of the last remaining champions that will be able to single-handedly remove Imp from the Rift if he wants to.
Yeah, hasn't actually picked up the Smite just yet. We'll see whether he goes for that Skirmisher's Saber in the top lane with the Cinderhulk, of course. That has been the popular build so far, and it has been great at really taking out that single target. Acorn thinking of responding with a Gnar. And that is going to be a hard lane early on here for Hecarim if standard lanes do break out.
Yeah, it definitely is a hard lane, and it will probably be augmented further. We've seen that Gnars, for good or bad Atlas, have been going that Frozen Mallet build against Hecarims. I like it as a first item against Hecarim if it's going to be an extended laning phase. I think that at 2 items, it actually hurts you significantly more than what it gets you ahead, though. Just because you're used to having an MR and an armor item at that point in the game, you definitely don't have it in that case. But we'll have to see how it works out. Ignite is a much better laning tool than Smite. It's able to get you kills in the lane, whereas Smite much better very early game when you're jungling, and then extremely late game when you're diving onto the carry. So we'll have to see how it works out there, with that being the choice so far.
Well, OMG have locked away the Lulu. We've seen in recent series that Lulu has been a very contentious pick, made it through to the 3rd round, as OMG looking to try and build up Uzi. That's no surprises here, wanting that Whimsy, wanting, of course, the Eye of the Storm there coming through from Janna as well. Cloud there in the bottom lane with him. LGD thinking about Imp's champion choice, as Godvy's thinking about PYLs. And, well, I say PYLs, it might actually be Godby picking up that cannon for the mid lane, but I have a feeling it's probably in the support role.
Yeah, I was going to say they have to take the Callista here, because that is a very good Razor Puppy composition that Uzi loves playing around. You've got a Janna, you've got the Lulu there. The Callista would have just been devastating, because it does a lot of AoE damage in there and would have made up for the lack that would come through from the Lulu. Callista Cannon, it's a deadly lane, and it is so funny to say that about a lane like Callista Cannon, but they trade within the exact same window. They want to get the pierce through, the Shuriken, maybe get a stun, and then get the random back out, and it's just so hard to close. Not to mention the fact that Cannon is the best peeling support in the game. You stand on top of your AD carry, you hit the Slicing Maelstrom, you hit W, and everyone is stunned within 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's just insane. What the heck, though? Uzi, he's locked away new Tristana into the Callista here, and I wonder whether he's got anything planned. I haven't seen Uzi on this champion for a very long time.
So the thing about Tristana, you call it new, it is pretty old now. But
well, that's actually a good point,
Yeah, so the changed Tristana does so much damage to turrets. So they're looking to get rid of that mid-game lull by getting Uzi into a 2v1 lane, shoving through turrets extremely quickly, and then rotating around the map. So you see, with the Callista generally going Bloodthirster first at the moment, may have trouble to push back as Godby locks in his Orianna. So overall, 2 huge team fighting comps coming together. OMG probably looking for some picks with Loveling on Rengar. That's the other important pick we have to point out and going. But that's just an all-out AoE brawl comp coming through from LGD.
Yeah, and Cool does have the wild growth here to blow up the Loveling heading through there. Of course, Rengar able to launch in with that Thrill of the Hunt. We'll see whether that's going to go down. But let's go through the lineups. Hecarim versus Gnar. We've seen this quite a few times heading into that matchup against Acorn. Loveling against TBQ. Of course, the Rengar versus Nunu has been happening throughout the season, but Nunu a little bit stronger now with Cinderhulk available, and the farm lane in the mid. Lulu against Orianna. Yeah,
so we'll see who can help their team a little bit more. It's going to be Tristana and Janna versus Callista and Cannon in the bottom lane. I expect that to be an outright lane swap initiated by OMG just to try and dodge the power of that lane. They trade extremely well early game, and the one thing I want to point out is TBQ, this is his game to shine. If he shuts the Rengar down early, we'll be able to dictate the pace.
Well, let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get onto the Rift. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, OMG taking on LGD in this best-of-5 series. See who manages to draw first blood as far as these games are concerned, but it is going to be a long night. So many games to play. And we'll see what does happen. Of course, OMG with a very utility-based comp here, trying to build up Uzi on the Tristana this time.
Yeah, it looks to be that way. But on the other side of the rift, LGD, they've got a Nunu, they've got the Orianna, they've got a pretty good peel comp coming through for Imp as well. So we'll have to see who can execute better in the late game. That's what it comes down to a lot at the moment. When there's these tanky members coming through, like Acorn, like TBQ, on the Na and the Nunu, it's about who can get the most work done in the late game.
Yeah, well, it's true. And one thing I want to draw attention to as well is the fact that Imp, his Kalista, he's been sort of the main player that has decided to vary his build on that champion. Do you think that he's going to be going for like more of a Phantom Dancer based build, or do you think the Hurricane fits here?
No, I think that the Phantom Dancer... I've always been an advocate for the Phantom Dancer build. The only time I ever liked the Hurricane build is if you were going to go double lifesteal extremely quickly. And I think that's now bad in the tank meta because you need the Last Whisper before you can get the 2 lifesteal items. So it just pushes the timing back a little bit further. I like the Infinity Edge into Last Whisper build, into Phantom Dancer build. I actually think it does a lot of single target damage, and it's extremely hard to pin down the Kalista because she's got the bonus movement speed coming through.
Yeah, well, it's true. Martial Poi is definitely able to get you out of trouble, and we'll see what Imp decides to go for this game, as they have successfully made it through to this lane swap as well. Uzi actually hanging out there by himself. Cloud heading around, looking to try and get some deep vision down in the enemy jungle. As Uzi trying just to zone Acorn away, is just using those boomerangs to throw things around.
Yeah, and just some vertical jungling coming through. The invade was initiated by TBQ, started on the bottom side of the jungle, was able to pick up a red buff for himself. Now we see Going and Lovelink. They're around at the Wraith camp, going to move in on red, and this is a real potential for a 4-man dive to eventuate on top of Acorn.
Yeah, they're looking for it. Cloud up here now as well, trying to help zone Acorn away.
That's a really smart ward in the top lane coming through from Cloud. He's going to be able to see if the support joins Acorn to really be able to time whether it's an appropriate dive or not as they're stacking up this wave. Just very heads-up play. You see it in between the turrets. He got it down when there wasn't a minion wave there. It's just really nice to see that they're thinking just a step ahead, making sure that the support player doesn't rotate through.
Yeah, and they'll know as well. I mean, PYL isn't showing in that bottom lane, so he probably thinks, okay, they don't know where I am. We can play a little bit more aggressively because we know that they don't have all the information, but they do have enough here on the top side.
Yeah, they certainly do. They know that he's not coming at all, and they've frozen Na out of the lane completely. Actually getting some harass down now from the brush is Cloud. And with that deep freeze, he has no choice but to go farm somewhere else. He can't continue to overextend in this lane.
Yeah, he's looking for something. Of course, the Krugs are not there. Cool's getting shoved in just a little bit. Has a massive creep wave to farm up. It's POL and TBQ. They're going to do the standard move. Of course, they've got the duo lane in the bottom side. They're going to take the dragon.
Yeah, they certainly are, but FLICKR in the bottom lane, he's returned by himself as well. So this could turn into a 3-man dive the other way as Godvi pinging out Lovelink. Knows exactly what's up there, doesn't want to have anything to do with that Rengar. And just a very quiet early game coming through from both lineups. A good strategic move made by OMG to get Acorn off the farm, but pretty well matched in the bottom lane, you have to say, by LGD.
Yeah, picking up the dragon for themselves. Of course, our top laners are going to be suffering, but it's no different here from any other lane swap situation. Acorn generally going to do better in that situation as well, considering the fact that he's sort of a ranged damage dealer.
Yeah, certainly will be able to, although Hecarim jungles pretty well himself. He's got the flask, he's got an armor, cloth armor, so he'll just be able to pick up camps whenever he can, keep himself topped off with the flask. So he'll be relatively okay as well. As we see Acorn now that he's seen some people in the bottom. Wow.
My goodness, PYL is just going to die there on the bottom side, and I have no idea how Going managed to get in there to get that damage down. Imp didn't get touched, and I'm baffled.
They just didn't have vision control, and they rotated 3 members down and caught him as he went to try and ward. So able to get that done was OMG, and that's the first blood picked up. It's meant that there's some pressure relieved in the top lane, but they'll be able to break this siege for Going, and he'll have a fine time now on Hecarim being able to pick up some farm.
Well, Imp is actually still throwing out, wow, those spears. They can't ignore this Callista, of course.
Well, they're trying to.
Yeah, they were doing their best, but I'm more talking about the fact that they probably shouldn't. Imp able to pick up some farm underneath this turret. Of course, doing fine in that regard, despite the fact that they did lose their support player. Acorn going down extraordinarily low as Uzi's putting on the pressure up there. And 43 CS to 38, 5 in the lead. We shall see. Of course, in the lane swap situation, it's a little bit silly to compare CS, just because they're both getting solo farm.
It's definitely necessary still, and Uzi, he's doing a great job, of course, with PYL falling down. Imp wasn't able to grab all of his CS, so you see exactly where the early lead came from. Uzi also is going to be able to go back and get a shop in relatively soon. 47 CS at this point in the game, nearly is at that BF sword level. I want to see whether he goes for the investment banker build, though.
Yeah.
Try and grab a static shiv early to make up for some of the weak early game and push turrets a little bit quicker, help with the wave clear, or whether he does elect to go for the BF sword and try and get in there. As Going, he's picked up the Ninja Tabby. That's a fantastic pickup from Going because, oh, there's a dive coming through.
Yeah, Lovely and Cloud, they're looking for Acorn. He's about to transform actually into the Mega Gnar. Will have the wallop available as well. There's the full rage while Loveling forced to flash as TBQ comes around, and that was just bad timing.
That was a bizarre dive. They used absolutely nothing to try and get it done. In the end, it looked like Loveling was going on a solo mission there and just wasn't able to get any work done. And you see now Going with those boosts too. He's going to be able to shrug off a lot of the harass coming through from Imp because the auto attacks, they're just not going to do that much.
No.
Oh
God. Actually, Loveling in a whole lot of trouble. There's the Shockwave flashing with Loveling. That was insane. And Godvy's going to pick up the solo kill.
Yeah, so Godvy, he was flashing to keep the ball on top of him, so it was an instant Shockwave coming through there. He picked it back up. Didn't have to move it. They're going to be able to pick up the blue buff as well. And this is what we said about the Rengar versus Nunu matchup. You saw as soon as he showed bottom lane, Nunu took the whole top side of his jungle. TBQ level 5 to Lovelin's level 3. And he's never just going to be able to get back into this game because there won't be a window for it. TBQ can completely shut him out.
And TBQ's on the perfect champion to do so. That's exactly the perfect point. But the gold's still entirely even. It's the one dragon that would theoretically put LGD ahead. We'll see whether this is going to stretch out that lead, though, of course, with TBQ being able to take control. Loveling, of course, back up, is going to be able to take down his Krugs. Does have a red buff to take as well, and they've got some decent vision in that pink ward towards the bottom side. You can see lots of pinks for LGD towards the top as well, so they really want to keep an eye on exactly where Uzi is and where Cloud's roaming around the jungle.
I'm really surprised by this. The fact that they knew that they had the red buff timing because they were the one that invaded, so they took it. They have the 2v1 still in the bottom lane, and they know that Rengar is very far behind, but they're still allowing him to take it. I think that's maybe a little bit of a misstep, or not wanting to overcommit coming through from LGD. Of course, they don't have summoner spells or the ultimate available on their mid laner because Godby used that last time around. But either way, it was a window. LGD just didn't decide to capitalize on it.
No, not going through with it just yet. Cool. Quietly farming in this mid lane, only 8 behind. Godby picking up that kill there as well. Has the Chalice double Doran's ring. Is going to head back and pick up boots too, actually, as PYL goes relatively aggressive. Imp looking just to try and zone going out of the way of this turret.
But they're pinging out TBQ the entirety of this time. It's not just those two members that are zoning. It's the fact that Nunu on this side of the map can join relatively quickly with that Blood Boil, and they pretty much zoned him off the entirety of a wave. You can see, definitely doing better in this 2v1 situation. Although needs to be careful because he's nearly in kill range.
Yeah, still hanging out underneath this turret. Uzi probably wanted to pick that one up. The exhaust goes down. There's the Howling Gale as well as Uzi easily picks up that kill. Buster shot doing some work. Cloud soaked up all of that damage. Uzi still very, very healthy. TBQ not going to be able to avenge anything there. And Acorn, that was a bit of a greedy overstay.
Yeah, that was just a very bad play. As there's a teleport behind Godby. He needs to be careful.
Yeah, Thriller Hunt's been popped here as well. Loveling looking to go aggressive, going. Is he going to be able to get over the wall there with the Onslaught of Shadows? He decides not to just yet, but cools there with a whole host of damage. And there's the Shockwave, but Godby, you are most definitely dead. Of course, they knew that he had no flash available. Imp's going to be able to pick up a turret. But Godby falls down, and so does Acorn.
Yeah, so in the end, it was just going, zoning out in case Godby somehow figured out how to walk through a wall. Of course, as you aptly pointed out, they knew the flash was down.
Interesting.
exactly the same timing as Loveling's, and Loveling just would have been like, hey guys, I don't have mine, so he definitely doesn't have his.
TBQ, though, is going to be able to take down the red buff, and I guess Going was just wondering whether he had to use the ultimate. Maybe thought that maybe I just don't need to.
Yeah.
Because it's his only escape.
He was just looking majestic.
He was certainly looking majestic. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And it was just a beautiful zoning teleport as well.
Yeah, so able to get another kill for his team. That means that OMG are 3-1. They'll also be able to quite soon pick up the turret in the top lane. That's been prepped earlier. Dragon will once again probably fall over to LGD if they make the move right now, although doesn't look like they want to as Loveling. He's been able to catch up in levels, only now 1 level down from TBQ. That's because of some good gank pressure coming into that top lane. And PYL and Imp, they need to be careful.
They do. Loveling coming around here does have the Thrill of the Hunt almost back available. Doesn't have the hugest of cooldowns. About a third of that left to go as Imp just going to rend down that cannon creep. And is going for the Bloodthirster first. We'll see whether it does differentiate moving forward. Of course, he might just be sitting on that longsword just for fun and might be going towards that Infinity Edge. We'll see exactly what he decides to pick up. But I assume it's most likely that Bloodthirster is PWL. Hanging out here, still here in this bottom side. And not exactly Zero's cannon just yet. We'll see whether he can make an argument for the case of the support cannon master.
Yeah, have to see whether that does come through. And I'm surprised that they swap going back into the top lane. They are at a teleport disadvantage right now, OMG, because Hecarim doesn't have his available and Acorn definitely has that one up. So have to see whether that works out in the favor of LGD as this next Dragon fight you'd have to assume is going to start soon. And this mid lane battle, completely even. Cool and Godby have been pretty much back and forth with the CS. PYL just lightning rushing through there. Loveling still sticking around in this brush. Oh, TBQ.
Loveling looked like an excited kitten, getting very happy about a present that just got put down when he saw that ward. It was very, very cute. Uzi managing to get a cheeky explosive shot onto that turret. This TBQ. Oh, my cool. That was a beautiful glitter lance.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there's the lightning rush already prepped, but nice monsoon. But the flash from PYL. Beautiful two-man shockwave as the wild growth comes through, but Cool is going to die as well. TBQ immediately canceling the ult, but Uzi's been slowed down. LGD running over OMG, and that was a beautifully initiated fight there in the bottom lane.
And it was just all about the teleport. You could see it coming from an absolute mile away. Going not having that one available. In the end, turns out to hurt his team a lot. They're going to lose a second Dragon. Might even be able to pincer in behind him as Nah rotating into the mid lane now. And that was just a bizarre play coming through from Loveling. He stuck around for so long in that bottom lane, allowed everyone time enough to completely telegraph what the move was going to be. And in the end, it made them pay.
And they had so much room to chase there as well. There was no turret in the bottom side of the map. OMG overextended just a little bit. Thought they had the man advantage, but they certainly didn't. And Godby again was just textbook shockwave placement.
Yeah, it certainly was. And, you know, they were going to lose the Dragon because they didn't have the teleport. So keep Uzi in the top lane. Give him the easy lane matchup. He's a scaling AD carry. Let him take down that turret. There's no reason to rush back into the 2v2 Atlas. And that was just an overcommitment from OMG in a fight that they were never going to win.
Yeah, and they had no business actually going for anyway. They didn't need to take the risk, but we'll see whether they can turn it around as this game extends. Of course, Lulu is going to be able to pump up any of these hyper carries, and the late game damage coming through from OMG is definitely going to be scary. But OMG, my gosh, Going just gets dominated in the top side.
And this time it's LGD with the heads-up movement around the map. They recognize that bottom lane, that could be a deep freeze. So we're just going to pack up. We're going to leave it. We're going to go to the top lane, take out their top laner, and grab a turret for our trouble. Is Cloud, he's been caught.
Yeah, OMG looking for something here. TBQ, there's the Empire players. Loveling's going to flash out of the way of it. The red buff actually taking a lot of that damage as Uzi coming around here. Rocket jumps aggressively as the command protect is there. PYL, oh my goodness, a three-man shockwave. And LGD, they're turning it around. Wild growth onto Cool, looking to see whether it can keep him alive. Teleport from Going as soon as he respawns, but they can't pick anything up, and the bottom lane just got decimated.
What a great shockwave. One more time coming through from Godby. There was a window where he could have taken the two as wow.
Okay, Imp is just dominating Cool. The Rend will take him down. He uses the flash, but man, You give either of these AD carries Callista and you've got problems.
Yeah, you certainly do it. Just going back to Godvy's Shockwave before we hit on how good Imp is. He just held it for so long, waited for, in the end, PYL to go back in with the Cannon Ultimate, lock everyone up, layered the CC perfectly, and deleted nearly 3 members. But Imp, we said it's going to be the battle between him and Uzi. They're the confidence players on the team. They're the guys that if they get going, it gives their team a lot of swagger. And boy, 4-0-1, up 12 CS as well. Picked up his Bloodthirster as well as the Boots too already. It's only 15 minutes into the game. He's putting on an absolute Callista clinic, and you think that this is now a ban for the rest of the series.
Yeah, it has to be, and I was expecting Callista to be a ban from both sides throughout this one, but PYL, he's found Go-Going, or has Go-Going found PYL as a devastating charge going to come through, and they get the Ignite and then throw PYL away.
Yeah, probably never a situation where he was going to dive. His AD was in the top lane. Of course, that's a fantastic mechanic to come through there if you're Cannon. Just means you don't have to flash initiate. That's why we've seen more popularity of the support Cannon than the top lane Cannon. Top lane Cannon is that lane bully. Doesn't do so well against the tanks. But in the end, if you don't have to flash, if you can just rely on Imp picking you up and hurling you at someone, it's always going to work out well.
Yeah, there's the Thriller Hunt immediately flashed out of there by Godby. Not wanting to waste any time. Just going to avoid that one straight away.
Yeah, it certainly is. And that's a nice flash coming through there. Loveling will be able to revisit that lane now that Godby hasn't got that one available. Also is around about the Dragon timer that will come back up. So Godby might not have that one available for when the next Dragon's up. So I think it's a very important cooldown to be able to have because he's having a fantastic game. Probably looking for that Luden's Echo second Orianna this time around. We keep mentioning it. I'm kind of on the Papa Smithy train of thought as well. The Death Cap just gives you so much in the effective defensive items.
Yeah, the double dipping.
Yeah, but in saying that, Imp.
Yep, Scrying Orb going to be used there as well. Imp is just poising around this one. Go-Going, though, is able to get himself fast enough with that devastating charge in order to get his way out of there. Majestically trots away, as you'd say. Imp going to continue clearing out this wave. Does have the recurve bow Alacrity enchant completed as well, making sure that he runs and jumps as fast as possible and as far as possible.
Yeah, so he's going to go for that Hurricane build. Not willing to mix it up this time around. Thinks that they're squishy enough for the AoE to actually be effective. With the Warrior enchant coming through onto the Rengar, you probably think that is the case for now?
Yeah, you'd say so. Does have the mobility boots there as well, so not going to get any added tankiness from any Ninja Tabis or anything like that on this Rengar. Imp just going to use that Ren to try and take down all of those creeps. Unable to quite get those casters, which is
and once again, Acorn by himself in the bottom lane. There's no teleport available for Go-Going, so he can't go match that one. And you can't dive on top of a cannon because Godby, he's already shown that he can hit these clutch shockwaves. So in the end, what it means is that you waste a wave and a half in the bottom lane against a turret. That's golden experience no one was able to pick up. It means a 30 CS advantage for Acorn. And he's been the beneficiary of Godby and Imp's play around this map. Really hasn't done anything amazing himself. But because of the way his team been playing, he's just been able to reap all the benefits.
Yeah, and this is true. And cool. He's had some great Glitter Lances. I mean, there were some decent plays going on, but of course, he sort of used the Wild Growth very defensively throughout the game. This Lulu pick really hasn't given OMG all that much in this game. Uzi does have the Zeal on top of his Infinity Edge. He's starting to scale up into this game, but this version of Tristana, not quite as strong in the late game, not quite the devastating force that she once was. And we'll see whether Uzi's going to be able to carry it through because it might be too difficult if LGD continues on this trend of having a gigantic lead.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on that one, Atlas. I actually think Tristana is pretty effective in the late game still.
Oh, I still said pretty effective.
Yeah,
Is it 6k behind effective?
I don't think it was ever 6k behind effective.
Oh, right, okay. Good point. I thought she kind of was pretty good. Anyway, I think I've killed the conversation here just a little bit. It is going to be the third Dragon going down for LGD. So they managed to lock that one down. It's, of course, denying the first here for OMG as well. No 6% stats for them. And LGD, they're putting a timer on this game. We say it all the time. We're a little bit like a broken record, I have to admit. But it is still a big deal, especially considering the fact that LGD, they still have a whole lot of control in this game regardless.
Yeah, they certainly do. And now they're pressuring another Tier 2 turret. Have to make sure that Hecarim doesn't get an initiate on them here. Uzi finally able to grab that top lane turret as they might be looking for a dive.
Imp is there. Fate's Call is available as well. POL does have his ultimate and the flash. As TBQ looking for something, going, not going to do anything silly as Imp. Just going to get a whole bunch of different shields. They're just going to take away the red buff and be on their merry.
Yeah, so they're able to pick that one up for Imp. That means that Going needs to be careful here because there'll be a lot of persistent damage. PYL, he was stubborn there. He really wanted that dive.
Yeah, he really
was like,
did.
just pick me up and throw me. I'll initiate it.
Yep, just press that, leaning over onto Imp's computer just to try and press that R button. Godby, though, able to clear out this wave, of course. He's probably one of the best wave clearers in the game. We'll see when he does go back, whether he does have enough for that Luden's Echo as well, because, of course, that is going to be a huge damage spike here for Godby, or Whalus, of course.
Yeah, sitting on about 2,000 gold right now after he picks up that blue buff, so he's in a very good position. Hasn't gone back to buy, so you think at this point, cool, probably ahead because he's spent all of his gold, has that needlessly large rod sitting there in his back pocket and needs to make sure that they don't have poor back timings here. There's about 2 minutes on. Actually, Dragon just went down just before. Wow. They're really ahead on the Dragons.
Seriously ahead on the Dragons. Cool is going to find TBQ, but TBQ's not going to care one iota. And Uzi going to continue the push here on the bottom side. Does still have just the Zeal. Has augmented that with some Berserker's Greaves here as well. So a little bit more slippery and does have the Rocket Jump for some safety as well. Cloud coming around. Just Eye of the Storm just to try and help clear out this minion wave, add some damage here to Uzi.
As Imp chunks out Core in the mid lane, gets a Glitter Lance in response. That Luden's Echo has now been finished by Orianna. As a teleport and a collapse coming in on the bottom lane.
Yeah, POL and TBQ coming through here as well. Kalista a little bit far away. They don't have a lot of damage here in this gank as Buster Shot and the Monsoon going to throw POL so far away.
Yeah, so they're able to pick up the turret in the end. Acorn wasn't able to defend that one, but they used 2 ultimates, Atlas, and that means if there is a fight within the next couple of minutes, expect it to be a huge one for LGD.
Yeah, LGD actually looking to try and defend this outer turret in the mid lane, and Imp on his own is enough to deter OMG with 3 members in the mid lane. Of course, had a few friends on their way, but didn't think that they'd be able to take this guy down as POL looking for an engage. That was an interesting Ventral Maelstrom.
Yeah, thought he
Slicing Maelstrom, in fact. Of course, Maokai not in this game.
I thought he had actually dodged out of the way of Loveland's net there, but able to get the bowler strike through, get him stunned up nicely. Might have been even hoping for the throw one more time.
It was like the super optimistic Slicing Maelstrom as well. It's like, if I just press the button, will it assume I haven't been stunned? You were definitely stunned, POL. But, of course, that is going to be down. So, a couple of ultimates still on cooldown now for OMG and LGD at this stage. So, Acorn going to pick up his house and head back towards the top lane. Little bit of a lull here in the game spawn. 4,000 gold, though, as OMG have closed that one just a little bit.
Yeah, and the reason is that LGD, they don't need a force. Once again, these teams, whilst having 4 ranged carries, not really the longest range in the game, we're seeing range kind of slip away, and they're not the Trinity Force units, so they don't get that one pop shot onto turrets that really are effective at sieging down. So all they're doing right now is waiting for the Dragon to respawn. They're picking up every single bit of farm, repetitively shoving in and deep warding OMG's jungle and waiting for them to make a mistake. But if they don't, they'll just carry this advantage of about 4,000 gold through to a 5th Dragon, win the team fight, grab the Dragon, and then just do what EDG do, take the rest of the map at the exactly right time.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we saw last night as well. I believe it was Snake that took, I believe it was a team fight when they were about even in gold and then managed to take pretty much everything else to the point where they were at an 8,000 gold lead.
They turned an 1,800 gold lead into an 8,600 gold lead in about 5 minutes last night.
They certainly did. I'm really glad that you remember the numbers. Nicely done. Good memory.
You don't have to tell me. I was there.
Well, I'm not telling you. I'm pretty sure I was aware that you were there. LGD are going to be clearing out some vision, though, around this Baron, as this game does slow down just a little bit.
The one thing about the LGD team comp that you have to point out is with Orianna Shield, TBQ not going to take much damage from the Baron, so they can bait this fairly effectively because OMG know that they can do it incredibly well, and they might just be able to bluff their way into a free Baron.
They might be able to. Haven't decided to start it up just yet, but if you have a team that you want Baron security on, having a Consume and a Rend leaves you pretty good in that department.
Certainly does throw in the fact that Orianna, she gets you the shield that you need to be able to take it safely. Yeah. She also does consistent AP damage, which is so valuable. And Uzi, he wanted to go grab that bottom wave of farm wanted to shove it into the turret, but then recognized this is a very real threat coming through here. They're going to pick up the blue buff, deny that one away.
Vision is there for OMG. They know that LGD are doing the blue buff, not the Baron.
I can't believe they haven't started this one up. It's been so long since they checked. They've put a ward down there. Might have been able to get in behind, but that's a very quick lineup with Janna, with Lulu. They're not going to be able to catch anyone else. And that's a huge minion wave that just went away. It's finally OMG starting to get some semblance of control back. Pegged it back to a 3,000 gold advantage, but it will be another dragon for LGD.
Yeah, 4th dragon here for LGD, of course, herding OMG across the map. Out of a position where they really want to fight. OMG do have vision, but of course, Cool going to back away, and no way that Loveling's going to fight this one.
There is no way you take that fight ever if you're at OMG. At this point in the game, they're just so far behind. Hecarim, he's not tanky at all. He's only got a Trinity Force, not in that mid-game spike. Probably needs a defensive item before he can really challenge Imp. You've got the fact that there's not much armor penetration coming through for Uzi. He's on the Tristana, and you already see, Warden's Mail is being picked up by TBQ. There's a Randuin's Omen in the top lane. He needs to be able to shred these 2 tanks that are going to be slowing down his attack speed all the while. Couple that with the fact that Imp has got his QSS, so CC not really a problem for him at the moment. He's just going to be doing so much more in the team fight. And Godvi, he's an absolute beast. 261 CS, 115, got another 1,000 gold there. Going to be able to completely wreck any 5v5 team fight.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Orianna has got through that stage where she's not quite as strong. Of course, has a bit of a lull when you're sitting on just the Athenes, but didn't happen this game. Actually managed to pick up some very early kills there for his team and for himself. So with the Luden's Echo, is probably going to be building up that Rabadon's Death Cap as the next item. And when you're augmenting what is, 80, so 200 AP just from items by 30% there on top of everything else that a Rabadon's gets you, it's pretty ridiculous after that one comes through.
Yeah, it certainly is. So that's the next big power spike that we're waiting for here. As Cloud, he's been caught out a little bit.
Does have Eye of the Storm. Nice Howling Gale is going to stop the Assaulters. Cool's going to throw through.
Look how many wards they have around that Baron now, as well as the Rift Scuttler.
My goodness.
She's got all 4 there, making sure that they have exact vision of what is going on.
There is a line. It's like they're trying to build a fence. They're fencing off the Baron.
Well,
LGD, I don't think you should do this.
Yeah, the reason it's not in the mouth is for exactly that reason. When you sweep, you don't really sweep that area, but the improved sweeper coming through there gives you the true sight on top of yourself, of course, as they're able to sweep out a pink ward of their own. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Loveling actually going to jump on a Godby. He gets deleted there as Uzi picks up that kill. Loveling wants to continue the fight. Nice wild growth, but Loveling probably going to die for it. It's going. He's now in there with the Onslaught of Shadows. Maybe a little bit late, though, because Imp, he's able to dance around this fight. TBQ trying to hold off these members as Acorn, not with very much rage, causes Uzi to rocket jump out of there and going. He's going to die. Imp picks up that kill. 2 are dead now for OMG. Is cool. He's being caught out, but PYL gets caught. Uzi goes for the hero play, maybe a little bit over-aggressive as Imp. He's going to get the consistent damage down, and man, Acorn takes away the kill, and that's 4 dead for 2.
Yeah, good team fight in the end coming through from LGD. You thought that OMG had actually nabbed one there because they were able to get the first kill down onto Godby, who we said was really the linchpin of these team fights coming through. Turns out I'm completely wrong. Imp, solo mission there, able to completely destroy Going as he dove the backline, and this is what we said. He didn't have the defensive items available to really make himself that big threat.
Yeah, and this is an Imp that hadn't been back to buy all that recently as well. Now 7-0-2.
So they go in, they grab Godby there, and that was what started it all up. Then they get the stun onto Imp, and they thought they had it. But we mentioned how good Kennen is at peeling. Couple that with the fact that the face call also got the knock up onto Going. The zoning potential out of this LGD lineup with the Gnar, with the Nunu and the Kennen is just way too much at this point of the game. The consistent threat was just never there. And in the end, Uzi, he goes for a huge play with the Buster Shop trying to jump in, but gets taken out by a Rend. And that team fight, pretty much as good as OMG could have hoped for, but LGD still grab it.
Yeah, and it was beautiful there as well. Did you see the fact that that Imp actually took down the Raptors just to try and get his health back there while POL just cheekily tanked that one up? Of course, caused his death there. Uzi able to take him down, but Imp stayed so healthy even after the Onslaught of Shadows came through.
Yeah, and he was even able to go back by an outright Last Whisper.
That's
He's
silly.
now ready to fight if he wasn't before, going to be shredding these tanks that haven't yet even had an opportunity to pick up armor. So he's actually ahead of the curve there.
That being said, he still has the same damage potential here as Uzi, who's picked up also the Last Whisper as he went back.
Yeah, but the difference, there's 2 Randuin's Omen, there's a Giant Belt, there's another Chain Vest on Acorn, not to mention the Whiffed Orianna ult that goes through there. That's not what I was going to mention, but Godby, you made me do it. Not to mention the fact that there's just so much more persistent threat. You feel like, if anything, it should be Imp that went the QSS and Uzi that picked it up, because the that's probably what's going to be Mikhail's. Then you've got the cannon diving in there for you. That's what you need the QSS for. There's just so much persistent CC that can come through.
Yeah, and if you, as Uzi, use your rapid fire, which is now so important to utilize fantastically, if you get then ice blasted, then everything sucks.
Yeah, it certainly does. In Uzi's game so far, you pretty much summed it up. It's kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Not his game personally, but everything that they've done, wow.
Yeah, Loveling looking for POL here, just gets Fate called it out as TBQ does use the Absolute Zero. Doesn't find anything for it as Loveling just going to bounce around and clear out some wards.
Yeah, they actually have to go defend this bottom lane because the turret pressure is just so big, and that might actually mean that OMG, they're able to grab a mid turret for their trouble.
Yeah, really nice rotational players. TBQ actually takes a lot of damage here.
He gives very little cares, though. He just walked through 4 members.
Yeah, he's not too worried about it. Command Protect now here as well as Godby's going to help him out.
LGD, they've neglected that bottom lane for a very long time. Might have caught Loveling, though.
Yep, throw a house at him here as Imp is going to use that Pierce just to get the slow, but OMG, the rest of the members are there. Oh my goodness, the Wild Growth actually used just in case of the rend. Imp gets through, though, still gets it down, and that is a dead Rengar.
Yeah, it's almost clinical here. They're just persistently chasing through. They're willing to burn their flashes offensively. TBQ actually flashed in there to just Randuin's Omen.
That's fifth Dragon.
5th Dragon's being picked up as well.
And that's all because I think OMG thought that LGD wanted to go to that bottom lane. They didn't care about that at all. I mean, I think that minion wave actually took down the turret.
Yeah, so it killed 1 turret and did a little bit of work to the bottom lane inhibitor turret as well. But in the end, if you get 5th Dragon for it, as it is actually the double lifesteal build that will come through for Imp, he's going to finish that one off with a Blade of the Ruined King. So extremely aggressive. And this is where I do agree with the Kalista build.
Yep.
Because it means that the 2 lifesteal items are kind of your defensive item. You're not going for a Banshee's Veil, something like that. You're going the Mercurial Scimitar and the 2 lifesteal items, and that's what's trying to keep you alive. The shield, the additional peel that comes through it, and the cleanse really is an all-in build. You have to be extremely confident to do it, but it does do a lot of damage still without the crit modifier.
Yeah, it does, especially with the Blade of the Ruined King and the extra attack speed that you are going to pick up from the Hurricane and that item. And not to mention the fact that the neutral damage is ridiculous with that build.
Yeah, it certainly is. You're able to shred through Baron, shred through Dragon. And of course, every Dragon is a 5th Dragon from here on in. There's Acorn and Uzi. They bump heads in the bottom lane, so Acorn going to back away, but he has teleport. Uzi doesn't. They're already on this inhibitor turret.
That is insane Command Protect shielding coming through here as well as Imp. Look at how fast he's attacking with that Blood Boil. That's ridiculous. This inhibitor turret falling down, and you can see there's that teleport to protect that minion as Fate Score comes through. Double knock up. Cloud going down so Loco going just evaporates, and that is the tanky horse as well. TBQ just walking towards the OMG members as the inhibitor falls down, and they're not done. 5th Dragon still rotating around LGD, and they're looking to take down an easy first game. Look at the wallop and the as Acorn just destroys OMG. Uzi, the last man standing, and the Nexus is going to fall. LGD, what a shutout game 1.
Yeah, that was a clinic Atlas coming through, and once again, with all of the CC, Uzi just couldn't get anything done. Imp had the luxury of being able to stand in the front line. You said going was tanky. Complete opposite. He had a Frozen Heart and a Trinity Force against everything that Acorn was packing, not to mention the Transform. Hecarim, he's always been kind of this bruiser until super late game. Relies on diving into the team and getting his health back, and just nothing went his favor that game.
Yeah, wasn't really able to get anything done. Of course, game one of a best-of-5 series here, ladies and gentlemen, and OMG could potentially try and turn this around, but as far as momentum is concerned, LGD, they couldn't have asked for a better game.
Yeah, certainly couldn't. They did it on comfort picks. The Orianna, it was ignored.
Oh,
Godfrey made them pay for it. PYL's Kennen looked fantastic once again, but it's all about the Kalista for me. In this series, we didn't expect to see it at all, but it was able to fall through to the second round picks.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous. I'm completely mind-boggled. And the fact that it works so beautifully here with Kennen as well that you mentioned, the Fate's Call is just one of the best tools for Kennen that you can really have. Of course, doesn't need to use that flash to get in.
Yeah, exactly right. The scary thing is that there are so many things that you can also couple with it. Nautilus, another champion that loves to get in there. It's really not the Kennen that linchpins it. It is the Kalista.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, we still have quite a few games to go. We're going to have a short break, but we'll be back very soon with Game 2 between LGD and OMG. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the English broadcast of the Chinese LPL playoffs. I'm Atlas, this is Spawn, and man, LGD, what a dominating first game performance against OMG. This is, of course, a best-of-5 series, so we'll see whether OMG can bounce back, but looked worrying there in the game one.
Yeah, it certainly did, and the picks and bans just went so far in LGD's favor. They grabbed the Nunu, and Loveling went towards Rengar, and I didn't really agree with the pick up there. Not much pick potential when you're trying to grab an Acorn and maybe a Nunu, the only two people roaming through lanes. Not going to work out in your favor, and it certainly didn't. So we'll see exactly what happens straight away. Nunu being banned away from TBQ.
Yeah, I definitely understand that one, and it had a lot to do with the Blood Boil there onto Kalista as well, not only giving her more attack speed and more damage, but so much more maneuverability, and Imp just went off in that game. He was legendary very quickly, and LGD, they're going to ban away the Kalista now on the blue side, not wanting to pick it up first pick.
Yeah, so not first pick where they think, and they don't want to let it to go through with the second round. Also, the fact that Nunu's gone might be something towards it because the attack speed steroid's so important. So might look to play the mid-game AD carry battle against Uzi this time around. Casson and Azir and Urgot round out the bans, and wow, straight away TBQ jumps on that Sejuani.
Yeah, Sejuani immediately picked up. We'll see whether TBQ is going to be able to use that to great effect. We've seen it pretty brilliantly used, but a lot of these early game junglers have still been effective and going, waste no time locking away that Maokai.
Yeah, but Trundle is still available, so we'll have to see whether the last ban that came through from OMG is justified. Econ actually taking a good hard look here at Hecarim. Janna's also being picked up, so Cloud will be on this one. Janna again.
Yeah, back onto that champion, of course, might like it still against the cannon. Of course, without the Fate's Call, doesn't have that way of re-engaging after getting monsooned away. And Imp, thinking about the Sivir, we've seen Sivir, of course, in the series that we cast earlier today. Legend Dragons used that beautifully against Gumpty.
And already, this is bad news. If they lock in an Annie and something that can really go with the rest of the team comp here, there is such heavy engage already coming out of LGD. Look for Uzi to play something that has an escape. I wasn't thinking something along the eyes of Ezreal because that's maybe a little bit too extreme, but the Jinx would surprise me.
Yeah, Jinx is an interesting one. Loveling, thinking about the Rek'Sai, has had a whole lot of success, especially early on in the season, and we've seen Rek'Sais be used so beautifully. And Uzi, thinking about actually going back to the Tristana, 1 second to go, and that one's going to be locked in, of course. Oh, actually switching over to the jungle Gragas as well as Loveling. And Uzi, pretty confident with this Tristana. It's an interesting pick.
Makes a lot of sense. A whole load of no buttons coming through from OMG. They've got the Gragas ultimate. They've got the Monsoon that can come through. Not to mention the normal NATO and the Uzi ult. Just so many things to get this team comp out of your face. Means that they need to go a little bit more pickish, a little bit more control. That's where the Orianna comes through. Godfrey, amazing on that champion. And PYL, he actually might look at Nautilus. I'd prefer something that could set up people in unique positions, maybe create paths through obscure structures, stun people against walls.
I feel like something, yeah, come on, man, he's not going to play Bard. It's just not going to happen.
But I want him to so bad.
So do I. I really want to go on this magical journey with you, I promise. I promise. OMG looking to round out their lineup now with their mid laner Cool, thinking about a Cassiopeia. And at the moment, judging on these picks, it does look a lot like no buttons versus go buttons.
Yeah, it certainly does look to be that way. We'll have to see whether Acorn sticks with his summoner spells because he's actually got the Ghost. And I'm not expecting it because we don't play standard over here. That looks too much like a standard summoner spell.
Maybe he's actually playing Singed. And maybe it's a placeholder. Who knows? But that is very, very interesting. Wanting to make sure that he can definitely get in on top of Uzi. And maybe that's his response. He's like, okay, you've got Buster Shot, Rocket Jump. It's okay. I'll run really, really fast.
Yeah, I'm going to get back there with the Ghost. And, you know, with some distortion boots, he's going to be able to get around the map really quickly.
Yeah, true.
Also has his teleport available more often than going. And it makes a more attractive option coming through there. So we'll have to see if that is exactly what Acorn is going for. But he swapped over at the last moment.
Oh, he's going to grab the Smite in the end, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be the Skirmisher's Saber in that top lane with the Cinderhulk. And Acorn, you can see there going against the tree, picking up a very comfortable champion there as TBQ versus Loveling, the tank battle, Gragas versus Sejuani.
Yeah, Gragas a little bit better early on, so we'll see if Loveling can get ahead. Godby once again on Orianna, cool on Cassiopeia. That's a skill matchup if you ever saw one. Cool needs to play it well.
Yeah, he certainly does. PWL and Cloud there. Janna versus the Nautilus, and engage versus disengage. Definitely on both sides of this 2v2 situation. You've got Siva, who just wants to go forward with all of the boomerangs. But ladies and gentlemen, let's waste no time. Let's get into game 2. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on to the Rift for OMG, taking on LGD Game 2. LGD taking first game with reckless abandon into the last few minutes. Of course, it was ridiculously well played from them. We'll see whether OMG can bounce back effectively, and it is going to be the Siva versus Tristana this time around.
Yeah, good ward coming through from Akon there. We'll spot the invade coming through. I'm glad you kept talking because I was going to ask what taking a game with reckless abandon actually meant.
I meant that they did it very quickly.
They did do it relatively quickly, and they did it in pretty emphatic fashion in the end. They had all of the dragons. They had a Baron.
They did.
Only 4 turrets went down.
They took those dragons and Barons with reckless abandon.
Oh.
That's what I was going for. I'm not entirely sure whether it worked, as OMG do manage to get some deep wards down.
I don't know. I'll let others give feedback on that one as we see very deep wards coming through. And a sapling for good measure from Going. Now he's trying to scout out the rest of his jungle. The response is the invade in the bottom lane. Not as many deep wards coming through this time for LGD, but they might be looking to catch someone out. They've looped around the backside. Nope, they're just going to go home.
Yeah, it is a cute little ward here in the lane, though, spotting out to see whether anyone's coming through. They're not between the inhibitor and inner turrets this time around, just trying to try something else.
Yeah, Wolfcamp not warded there, so they're going to be able to get Akon a good start, as well as start the Sejuani on the bottom side of the jungle. So pretty much perfect start coming out here for LGD. OMG, they're electing into the 2v2 lane. They did see Akon go past there as Godvi. This is going to be a tricky lane for the first maybe 5-6 levels. After that, should be able to equalize fairly well.
Yeah, we'll see how he goes. Of course, there have been a lot of these sort of control mages, these farm lanes in the mid lane. Cassiopeia definitely able to take some control there, but we've seen her used today already. Not to such great effect as POL looking to head forward, pick up a stun here onto Cloud or Uzi.
Make his presence more health he has.
That's ridiculous.
Than Cloud.
Hasn't even popped the Titan's Wrath yet as well, which, as far as effective health goes, it's going to definitely help out. Of course, Cloud does have Eye of the Storm as Imp with that Ricochet able to get that reset, but Explosive Shot is going to help Uzi out in these trades.
Yeah, certainly is. And you see Godby gets tagged by the poison there. Cool, not wanting to go aggressive. But Cool, wow, he tags him again. That does wonders for your mind game early on, Atlas. And Akon, he took a first camp and didn't even bother to teleport back. Just walked into the lane, not respecting Maokai's level 1 punches at all. Which is ridiculous, Spawn. Of course, you've told us all about how powerful his level 1 punches are, as we just see him do so towards the minions. And Akon's taking a lot of damage. He's just trying to shove the wave in, get back, get a quick shot in, actually make use of the early gold instead of just throwing it towards pots. But he might be made pay here. Oh, devastating charge. That glove, Atlas, it does work early on. Oh, yeah. I think it's partly to do with that skin as well. Pretty powerful. Command Protect going to help against some of the poison damage here as Godby just weathers the storm of this early phase. But he's already half CS of what Cool is, and Cool really is doing well, pushing him in, and this is a lot less control than we're used to seeing out of Godby. The return to lane for Akon, he's able to pick himself up a Ruby Crystal only, has to burn that teleport. So we'll see how that one works out because, honestly, Going, much better start to this game, 20 CS. Yeah, not too bad at all, and things actually going almost the opposite here as far as OMG's game plan. We expected this moving forward. Of course, LGD versus OMG was always going to be a massive one. It was surprising to see LGD with such a dominating Game 1 performance, but I wouldn't be surprised if OMG had some more tricks up their sleeve, and it looks like these 2v2 lanes seems to be where OMG able to feel a little bit more comfortable, sort of the 1v1, 2v2, everything sort of working normally on the Rift. Yeah, it certainly is, and they're very strong laners, so not surprising to see this is where they are doing well. Uzi, as well as Going, have always, I guess, kind of prided themselves on their ability to bully lane, so we'll see if that does work out. Imp and PYL, they're getting a little bit bullied at the moment. They're falling behind in CS, trying to push out with this Siva, not really working to their favor. Mid lane has equalized somewhat with Godby being able to catch up with some CS. Orianna is just such a proficient laner in so many situations as, wow, Uzi gets aggressed on.
Yeah, there's in fact the Riptide as well there by PWL, but he takes a lot of damage for it. Imp running out of mana, probably wants to spell shield something. Cloud could just quickly throw out a Howling Gale. That'd help Imp out quite a lot.
And they're just repetitively trying to push this lane in. The thing is that Tristana, she actually pushes back very well as the hook goes wide.
Yeah, but Boomerang Blade is there, as Uzi is going to have to deal with this wave heading towards the turret. Actually going back for a quick back here is Imp. 39 CS to 39. Uzi able to pick some more up underneath that turret. You can see Cool's actually gone for Cleanse in the mid lane as well, as I check over to see what these champions have picked up as far as summoner spells. Godby with the Ghost.
Yeah, it certainly has, because he needs to be able to... So, start with Cool's one.
Yep.
Sejuani, you take Cleanse in the mid lane. Done.
Okay, fair enough.
Move across to Godby's one. It's all about the persistent threat that can come through. We already mentioned the disengage, the repositioning ultimate, so there's no point being caught out of position as Orianna and not being able to get back in. We see Dade do this a lot on control mages. It's about being able to do consistent damage and be relevant at all stages of the team fight, and goes very versatile, can be used offensively and defensively as well. PYL, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Command Protect is there. Godby not quite level 6, so not going to have any sort of kill pressure
He's
with
lucky
that
that
Shockwave.
Cool was nearly there, because otherwise they would have been kept spamming out with the Twin Fangs. That's the max coming through first. Depends who you watch play Cassiopeia. Some professional players still do prefer to go Poison. Helps you shove wave out much better than what Twin Fang does, but Twin Fang, as far as trading goes in lane, is just so brutal.
Yeah, and Essence of the Serpent, it is going to be the first upgrade coming through now for Cool, so able to get a little bit more back for every Twin Fang that he does throw out, and adds to the sustain here of the Cassiopeia. And Aspect of the Serpent coming through with the upgrade there at about 6.5 minutes. That's a pretty good clip.
Yeah, it certainly is. Able to get in there. He's been using it a lot to CS. He's been using the Poison mainly as a zoning tool. Not much point getting extremely aggressive in the bottom lane. As PYL, he's trying to catch Cloud out.
Yeah, Eye of the Storm here onto Uzi, though, staying very, very healthy. Imp getting pressured by this Tristana, who's being a complete menace. Uzi known for his lane pressure, and it's being demonstrated right now. Playing so aggressively. There's the exhaust, the heal coming through from Imp. Uzi going so aggressive as the Ignite goes down. There's the flash through from the Arctic Assault. Actually goes over Cloud. Beautifully played, but they don't manage to get on top of Uzi, who throws out all of his summoner spells in order to survive. But man, Imp held onto that flash for so long.
Yeah, he certainly did, and he held onto the potion through the Ignite as well, so able to get that one going. But every single summoner spell, with the exception of PYL's flash, was burnt in that trade. So next time either jungler comes to visit, whether it's Gragas, whether it's TBQ, now that he's hit level 6, you feel the effects are going to be much more explosive.
Yeah, and this is the ridiculous thing. Uzi versus Imp. This is the massive matchup here in this game, and they are so even as far as that farm is concerned. Of course, Uzi able to catch up, extend that lead just a little bit while Imp is no longer in the lane, but he's going to head back as well. Imp might be able to pick up a few of these creeps that are going to hit the turret and then shove back through. This game very, very close, as Godby's going to get a cheeky attack dissonance combo off onto Cool.
And we'll have to see if Uzi's doing his usual thing. He had about 450. He does. He goes and he builds up his boots instead of anything else, going for... Wow.
There's the flash twisted advance onto Govy. Loveling's here as well as Govy flashes out of the way. Oh my goodness, cool. There's the ultimate as Acorn comes around the back. They pick up first blood here. TBQ grabs Cassiopeia as Loveling now going to try and body slam his way out. Nice devastating charge. The dredge line at max range, and Going's going to fall as well. And LGD, what a brilliant answer to that gang.
Yeah, they certainly were able to get it. Good counter again coming through from TBQ, even though immediately cleansing the ultimate from Sejuani was cool. He wasn't able to get away from the Hecarim, who just dove onto the backline. And this is the thing about Hecarim. He's unrivaled at getting onto a priority target and completely eradicating them. It's just annoying how much movement speed he has with that devastating charge. The fact that he knocks you in a bizarre direction with his ultimate, very hard to reorientate yourself. And in the end, Cool wasn't able to do it. Very short range, made to pay.
Yeah, and Acorn is so fantastic at using that devastating charge in order to get the player exactly where he wants them in these fights for his team. He devastating charged I believe it was going right back into the max range of POAL's depth charge.
Yeah, certainly did.
Dredge line.
Yeah, certainly was able to set up the hook, is what I think you're trying to say.
I believe that was what I was trying to
precision
communicate.
as well. Actually, TBQ stole away that blue buff from Godby, so that's not good news. And going, he's gone for the Ninja Tabby against Hecarim, who's got a Barmy Cinder, so honestly doesn't do that much physical damage at the moment. Going to probably be trying to burn this tree down with fire as opposed to chopping down with a scythe.
Acorn used to that by playing the old Rumble.
Yeah, which is, I had a scythe and a wheat joke versus a tree, and you just completely...
Oh, man, sorry, I just realized what you were going for, but it's hilarious.
No.
Oh, man. Maybe when we're live, you can go for it. But here's going to be the ult used in the mid lane. There's the shockwave. It's cool. Doesn't take too much damage, but, man, the dissonance does some work. And Godby locks that one down. What? Okay, TBQ's just going to die to the turret. Loveling is going to come through here as well. Cloud going down very low. Imp gets exhausted as PYL does have the explosive shot on him. Not a lot of mana here on this Nautilus, but Cloud super low as Imp trying to get the damage down. They're just going to continue shoving this wave, and LGD looking to have some control here on the bottom side.
Yeah, they certainly do, and it's all about PYL getting super aggressive. You can see he just roams out.
Oh, nice Howling Gale as Uzi has to deal with all of these creeps here as well, but he's going to be able to get rid of them. Either Storm going to help him out as Cloud doesn't really want that melee minion attacking him, and it's bothering him just a little bit as he auto-attacks it down.
Good gank coming here through from Loveling. Has been spotted out. Won't be able to get there in time. Instead, trying to pick up a Raptor camp. Now he might be the one that's being caught out.
Yeah, Glacial Prison not quite here yet as TBQ going to be able to at least secure the Raptor camp. Godby going to take down the Wolves here as well. Definitely into agriculturalist mode for the Orianna. Wants to catch back up in this farm as Cool does have a slight CS lead.
Yeah, so able to get a kill and a couple of assists is Godby, but Cool with that, I guess, misplayed turret dive in the end coming through from TBQ as we see how much damage Uzi does to structures at this point of the game. Able to rip through that one.
Yeah,
really
that's dead.
Equalize the lane again in mid. You thought that it was maybe going the Orianna's favor. Has some dirty farming now coming through from Acorn. Needs to get that done because Dragon is back available and soon, and you feel that with the teleport advantage going to have, needs to be able to push out the wave, rotate around the map, also doing some counter jungling for himself. That's quite cute on the Smite Hecarim.
Yeah, didn't actually manage to smite away the Raptors, which would have been very, very cool, as he doesn't actually have a sweeper just yet. Might give him a makeshift one heading towards this Dragon Pit. Not going to be the case as PWL is going to take down that pink ward there as LGD looking to go aggressive. Actually, Acorn back here in this top side of the map, putting some pressure on Go Going.
Challenge was thrown down. Go Going walks away.
Yeah. Gauntlet thrown.
Oh, you don't throw a gauntlet at Maokai. You might get hit by that massive keeper glove.
Actually, that's going to be the smite used onto PYL hat down here in the bottom lane, but explosive shot not exactly going to threaten death.
They also used the Gragas barrel to stun him into the wall. Saw TBQ there and then wanted absolutely nothing to do with that fight. You throw in the... Everyone thinks Nautilus, okay, this is a huge amount of CC. What people forget is Sejuani rivals him in the amount of CC that she brings in the kit with the ultimate, with the charge, not to mention the permafrost coming through.
That is such a huge slow.
You don't really go very far if you have a Sejuani and a Nautilus on your tail.
You most certainly don't. I actually like Sejuani with a frozen mallet spawn because you have even more slows.
Oh, you should throw a Rylai's Crystal Scepter in there as well.
Imagine the double duty. Do they stack spawn?
I have no idea because no one in their right mind builds them together.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You'd be a better person to tell me. Do they stack?
I don't actually know. I don't believe so. I think I actually wanted to build that on Sejuani when she first came out. Oh, was that the pick away?
Yeah, it certainly was.
Yeah, lovely. Got it. Nicely done. Nicely done. Dragon up in another minute 20.
The real victory is getting it off cool, though. It doesn't really matter if Loveling has it. Cassiopeia, so mana-intensive at this point of the game. Not to mention cooldown gators. The ultimate whiff.
Oh, whiffed by TBQ. Lands the Arctic Assault, though, and flashes in to the most beautiful shockwave I've ever seen predicted there by Godby. Maybe not that big, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, and the dive coming through from Imp and PYL.
Yeah, there's a depth charge as well as Uzi just gets slaughtered. Acorn finds his way into the backline. Going answers the teleport as well. Imp tries to get down the turret, now wants to kill the tree. TBQ coming through, sort of saying, I sort of should have my ultimate off cooldown, but he doesn't quite yet as going to flash out of the way. TBQ doesn't have Arctic Assault, and Cloud going on a wild goose chase. He's heading the wrong direction. Someone let him know exactly what's going on as Loveling. He's going to find Godv there in the mid, but doesn't want to go toe-to-toe. And Cloud, he's got a pink ward, so knows that he's at least not spotted.
The home guard Hecker him. He's going to grab him.
Yep, he's got him. There it is. The Rampage going to come through there as well.
The jewel of the century.
He's just going to burn him down. Oh, no.
That's insult to injury.
Not very nice. If we were going to get the weather there, it was going to be pretty hot. That was awful. That was a new low. I think we've hit a new low, ladies and gentlemen. Cool.
I like how you say we. I didn't have anything to do with that.
Oh, no.
You.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. I like to use the collective.
As we see, maybe this time TVQ can give the blue buff over to Godv. He's just got the heck out of dodge. Godv's like, do not go near my blue buff.
I'd be scared. Godv/Whalers, pretty scary guy. I've seen what he can do on talent.
As Cool gets the double proc there with the sweeper.
Nicely done.
Oh, can he pick it up? He can.
Yeah, that's the cheeky
That is
extra
worth
auto attack from Cloud.
60 gold. That is value for money.
Yeah, beautifully played. Uzi clearing out some minion waves here on the top side of the map. And Loveling hanging out here in the river. Godv just going to continue clearing as well. So 6-1 is the score here in favor of LGD. They have about a 3,000, 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and they've given up control of the Dragon area again. They've brought 3 people up into this top lane. They're going for a gank on Acorn, who is getting very scary at 2-0-0. But he's just galloped away. They're going to be able to pick up the second Dragon for themselves. And now they have positioning around the mid lane as well, Atlas. In response, OMG will be able to grab the turret. I like doing this when you're behind because it's a gold objective for a non-gold objective.
Yeah.
Second Dragon really doesn't give you that much as opposed to a turret that's a gold, but there's just so much dive.
Yeah, beautiful Petrifying Gaze to come through here as well, but the Glacial Prison didn't find its mark. Cool's still going to die, though, as that Dissonance doing so much work. Shockwave undergo going. Looked like a little bit of a disengage maneuver as Command Protect comes through. The bottom lane has found their way here from OMG. As Acorn makes his way down the backside, but Cool, he's just getting picked off over and over again, despite having some decent ultimates under turrets.
Yeah, he certainly isn't. It's just because there's so many threats. He has to decide, does he hit the damage threat? Does he hit TBQ, who can just dive him? And with the red buff, does a lot of damage himself at this point of the game. Heck, even Nautilus, he just CCs him for that long. Everyone gets out of the ultimate and then just walks towards Cool as well. He has no good options right now. That's why Cassiopeia, whilst being a power pick, is still extremely risky. The range can just come back and bite you sometimes. OMG, though, they've done a very good job of rotating around this map, getting damage down onto the turrets. Imp taking actually a lot of damage there as well as PYL looking for Cloud.
He's looking for something. Mobility boots allowing this Nautilus to move pretty quickly across the map. Godv going for his sort of standard build here, picking up the Haunting Guise as his next item. A lot of early damage, but going towards that Liandry's Torment. Has Loveling, who's going to be stacking a whole lot of health, not to mention going as well. I like the pick.
Yeah, certainly do. And the other thing is that they're both committed to kind of armor pickups right now as well, just because Hecarim, very scary, Siva, very scary, and that means that the sooner that Liandry's comes through, with the flat penetration and the ability to be able to shred through the HP, it's just very useful.
Yeah, brilliantly done. Cool hanging around here in the jungle, though, as 7-1, now the kill. So nothing to really write home about. Of course, 5,000 gold, it is repairable here by OMG. They have a fantastic late game comp still, but the fight going on. PYL does get a little bit caught out here as Loveling taking damage on the backside. PYL, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Riptide going to do some work, but he's most definitely going to die as OMG get the pick in the jungle. The rest of LGD wanted nothing to do with that.
Yeah, they certainly didn't. PYL was just caught out overextending, and in the end, it really cost him coming through there. They'll go back to some more standard farming off the back of it, but a kill picked up nonetheless, going across to OMG, who really needed it that phase.
Yeah, most definitely did. Uzi going to continue farming in this mid lane as Acorn. He's in the top as Cool might actually be able to finally pick up a blue buff. which is a huge deal. Loveling's got to be very careful not to burn that one down with a Cinder Hole because it's actually trying to reset as best it can. Doesn't look like it's resetting because Cassiopeia does so much damage.
Yeah, certainly does, and they're able to keep their pink water liners. Once again, Acorn on Hecarim doing his best singed impression between turrets 2 and 3.
Yep.
Might have actually caught out Cloud. He needs to be so careful.
Yeah, Devastating Charge has been popped. Talongale not going to find the horse, but is going to zone him away just enough as LGD. They do have a lot of vision here in this topside jungle. Before PYL sacrificed his life so valiantly, he did manage to get some vision down.
Certainly did. I think he would have preferred to do it without dying, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers sometimes, Atlas.
No, they can't. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made. The Rift is a dangerous place.
Unless you clear love, where it's relatively safe.
It is relatively safe. Acorn is just going to find Lovely. Going. I apologize. Just a little bit here in the top side of the map as Uzi rocket jumping his way away. LGD with some control here. Lots of very aggressive vision. No vision for OMG in the enemy base. They know they are definitely falling behind just a little bit at this phase, but I don't see LGD really falling off. Of course, we've had this Sivir argument over and over again, but there's no argument when it comes to Hecarim and Orianna.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's not even the scaling part of the composition. Doesn't really matter at this point because they've got tank busters in the other lane. So whether Sivir is a tank buster or not, really irrelevant to this point.
Yeah.
Going to do fine damage late game regardless, as they've now moved people into the top side of the map. And this seems to be a recurrent theme across the games. LGD, they explode in the early game, pick up a lot of early kills, and they're happy to slow play it, build up their objective, leave a minute until Dragon, so they've gone up into the top lane. They'll pick that one up, go back shop, pick up the third Dragon of the game, you assume, and OMG so far haven't really had an answer for it because LGD, they're controlling the objective so well that even if they get a random kill, all the lanes are pushed out. They can't get anything in their favor for it. It just becomes one death.
Yeah, and it just looks like LGD know exactly what to do if they get any sort of lead in the early stage of the game. And then it's all just textbook from there. We've seen this go the opposite way for a lot of these teams who sort of flounder around. But LGD, the complete opposite of that. They just shut out their opponent.
Yeah, certainly are looking to be that way. EDG and IG, for me, have been the two teams when they're ahead look the most impressive. But LGD trying to make the same case. There's 3 people now collapsing onto Acorn. He needs to try and get away.
Yeah, he does not have Ghost, of course, ladies and gentlemen. Did use that one before. Onslaught of Shadows is going to be here. But he is going to die.
You assume the jump came through. Faster shot. Probably died.
Look, he's dead. One way or the other. Imp is going to be able to take down the top outer turret as OMG actually in position for this Dragon exactly when it spawns. TBQ is around the backside, wants to try and find himself a steal. There's Godby is here as well.
Cool's not here, no teleport available. They're pinging out a ward behind for a teleport. TBQ's gone in. I reckon they can fight this still.
Yeah, they're actually going to reset the Dragon here at the same time. The Flash manages to nail it onto Uzi after the rocket jump as Acorn can't really be stopped with that home guard boot engage. They do take down the Dragon. That is the 3rd to none here in favor of LGD, and they trade it for a teleport.
Yeah, so they're able to grab the Dragon and the top lane turret off the back of Acorn dying. Definitely in their favor, and wow, Atlas, it just seems like that they can't do anything wrong. Even when OMG get a pick, it goes against them.
Yeah, and they may have got a pick. They also had perfect positioning around the Dragon as soon as it spawned. The bottom lane was in the top side of the map. That generally means, okay, we've got a Dragon, but not going to be the case. TBQ just Arctic assaulting over the wall and causing so much disruption, and immediately OMG back away.
Yeah, so they don't want to fight. That seems to be the objective right now. They want to scale up in the late game, and we saw King try and run the same tactic yesterday, and Snake ran over the top of them in the games that they were winning just because they were able to get this early lead. So it seems to be a recurrent theme. OMG not learning from the first game, not picking for any mid-game semblance of fighting apart from maybe the Cassiopeia, who just got bullied in lane to the point that now she's not even stronger than Godby on Orianna, who's 2-0-3, 40 CS up, has a plethora of advantages, now picked up a Leandri's Torment.
And a blasting one. This is silly.
Just looks like everything is aligning for LGD and not much of an answer yet coming through for OMG.
I mean, the one thing that they can say is that Uzi has a CS advantage. I mean, he hasn't died too many times as well, and Imp doesn't have sort of the same snowball that he picked up in the last game. But this game isn't about the AD carries. It's exactly what you're talking about. It's the fact that, cool, 1-4-1, he's been preyed upon. 30 CS behind as well as Godby. He's freshly shopped, almost at 3 items. The 3 items that Godby has looked the most powerful with in a lot of his Orianna performances thus far. And he's been more than happy to pick up this champion back-to-back in this series, and he just looks so comfortable.
Yeah, certainly does, and they're able to once again steal away the blue buff. If anyone face checks this, it's just going to be bad news, because the amount of catch that comes through from Nautilus and Sejuani at this point is just ridiculous, and they're able to shred the whole bottom side of the jungle while sending Acorn back for farm. He hasn't even got to teleport. They just know they're not going to be engaged on.
Yeah, he's going to take down the Rift Scuttler here as well, make sure that they have some Baron vision. OMG do know exactly what's going on with the ward that they have placed around that area. Acorn now with the Cinder Hulk and the Trinity Force at the same time. Home Guard enchant already completed. We'll see whether he does decide to complete the Spirit Visage a little bit sooner rather than later. Of course, a lot of magic damage coming through from OMG, but he just wants to kill Uzi.
Yeah, he certainly does. That's his job. He wants to get on the back line. You see also the fact that 2 Frozen Hearts are going to be picked up this game.
Yep.
That's completely massive. They're just looking to shut down one part of the composition. Cassiopeia, Gragas, Maokai, they all do magic damage. No magic resist being built up. They understand exactly what the carry part of this composition is. It is the Tristana. Just kill the Cassiopeia. She does 0 damage dead, not a Karthus, and be able to dominate the rest of the game as they're trying to once again collapse onto this Hecarim. But this time, you don't think he's going to be caught.
No, not going to happen this time. Devastating Charge going to get him to safety. Does have the ultimate in case something crazy does happen. And OMG looking for something more. TBQ was around there as well, but is just going to secure yet another blue buff here for Godby, who's going to pick up the second one in a row. Seraph's Embrace for Cool has transformed, only going to proceed to get more and more powerful as this game goes on. Of course, Cassiopeia scales fantastically into the later stages with that aspect of the Serpent, but
the part of her kit that never scales Atlas is her range. Just never gets longer, and it's not the fact that Cool's not doing good damage. He's always going to do good damage. It's the fact that if you get Nautilus altered, if you get Sejuani altered, there's just so many tools to currently deal with the Cassiopeia that never going to be in a point to do that relevant damage. Going to get exploded before she can get anywhere near the team fight.
Well, it has been happening over and over this game, exactly how you say, but see whether Cool can maintain positioning. Not going to happen. Depth Charge going to come through. Flashes out of the way, but TBQ, oh my goodness, that dredge line was wonderful. Petrifying Gaze going to land onto the 2 tanks. It's BOL. He's going to get shredded. Uzi picks up that one. As Godby coming around the backside as well. LGD looking to try and pick something up. Of course, it is a 4v5 at this stage. We'll see whether OMG can rally in this one. Acorn taking a lot of damage. That's going to be the ultimate onto only Cool as Godby managing to skip out of the way. Imp is going to die though as Loveling picks that one up. Command Protect onto TBQ. Uzi forced to flash out as that's Hecarim coming through with a massive one as TBQ going to fall. Godby and Acorn the only ones alive, but they're still going aggressive. Godby so healthy and no one else has any health. The Dissonance going to come through onto Loveling. He's pretty tanky. He's tanking up everything. Eventually falls down as Miasma trying to do some work on the LGD members. And Acorn, man, he is unrelenting. Does not want to stop fighting.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't. Able to get in their face at every point of that team fight. You felt with Imp going down so low early, the fact that they were able to turn onto PYL, it was going to go in OMG's favor, but the Hecarim, the Orianna, these are the 2 real carries. We keep talking about it. They just supplement each other so well.
Yep.
Acorn able to frontline. Orianna able to make up for all the lack of mid-game defensive stats with the Command Protect, able to get him into the fight more often with the Dissonance. Godby and Acorn just played that team fight so well.
Yeah, it was beautiful work. And one thing I want to know is whether that was bad target selection from OMG or just fantastic aggro juggling coming through from LGD.
There's just not a priority target on LGD. Anyone you hit at this point in the game is a good target to hit as OMG actually start up the Baron. This is desperation territory.
On top of a pink ward.
They're just doing it for speed and they're going to be able to grab it.
My goodness, Acorn coming through. Look at the shockwave as well. There comes the Glacial Prison, and Uzi super low in the back line of this fight. TBQ flashes on top of him. Permafrost picks up the kill as Cloud's going to get Depth Charge just to make sure that that one dies as well. That's a 3 for Baron, and no one dead on LGD. They might be able to push through and get some big turrets this time.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to go for that. There's also a Dragon available if they want to turn around and take a fourth, and that was definitely not worth it for OMG. They might actually even lose the first structure of their base. No, LGD, they're just going to slow play it as they have all series, take the relevant objectives on the map, push in bottom, take away Dragon, and this Hecarim Orianna combo, we're going to see it again, is just so devastating, able to get on the back line and completely shut out Uzi and Cool.
Yeah, and Cool had no mana. He was throwing Twin Fangs over and over at the Baron, and now just has to escape here as TBQ flashed on top of Uzi.
Yeah, so in the end, TBQ, he came up huge with the double kill. PYL lets out a huge scream after that fight. But it's just all about, that's such a cool combo to watch. You can start the Shockwave halfway through the Hecarim ultimate, and it doesn't finish until it goes off.
And I believe it actually pulled Cloud in as well when it looked like it probably shouldn't have when it first started up, but we'll see what does happen. Yeah, new feature.
Uzi doesn't look too happy. 1-3-3. A lot of what LGD is doing seems to revolve around shutting down that man, and you can't really blame him. 10 CS down, has got going with the 3 major items that you want on any AD carry, but it's just unrelenting coming through for LGD. They're going to look to time up.
Yeah, Uzi's going to get tied up yet again. That's going to be a, oh my goodness, hula hoop there for Uzi, but oh my gosh, Cloud just gets destroyed, uses the Monsoon in order to get out as LGD trying to re-engage this one. TBQ too low, has to get out of here as Akon trying to be a nuisance. Miasma going to slow him down. Uzi has to deal with this ball, doing so much work as Godby just in the backline, completely healthy, going. Not quite the tank he wants to be, and Imp going to be able to pick that one up. Uzi manages to survive. Godby not going to see him with that ward, and LGD, they're going to be able to take down this inhibitor turret.
That was Imp flashing aggressively forward and hoping he got the crit on Uzi to take him out of the team fight, but wow, in the end, nothing can go in OMG's favor. That was a missed Orianna ult, pretty much a cleanse straight away Sejuani ult. 2 of the most important ults of the team, you would have to say, and they still can't win the team fight.
Yeah, and they're winning a consistent damage fight against a Cassiopeia as well, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Cloud did all that he possibly could to try and get the disengage happening, but didn't quite work out as Akon, he's just going to continue split pushing, and look at how quickly he does it.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast at this point in the game. He's 100 CS up Atlas. Hecarim has well and truly arrived onto the current meta scene, and you just see how well he deals with any carry. He is a legitimate anti-carry threat in the top lane with that challenging smite, because he dives on top of you with the healing he gets. You just do no damage to him.
Yeah, there's no way to peel this guy off, and look, oh my gosh. Uzi almost got discovered as Akon didn't quite see him quickly enough.
He still might have him.
Oh, it doesn't have the home guard just yet. Devastating charge probably going to be there, but there's the buster shot. Akon is going to have to back away.
But he's got those major items. He's got the upgraded Cinderhulk in there. He's got the cooldown reduction in his build now from his Spirit Visage as well as the Frozen Heart. He's got the Trinity Force. Pretty much an end game build at 32 minutes. Only 1 slot to go. And honestly, that's not even really an important slot on Hecarim. You see it go from anything to something crazy like
Guardian Angel, Thornmail, something
GA,
like that.
Thornmail. You can even go with
Zephyr.
like Last Whisper, Zephyr, something along those lines. I like Last Whisper. Just because you get so much armor passively throughout the game, you're already really tanky. It just allows you to assassinate a backline member.
Yeah. I like it. Definitely like it. We'll see what's going to be picked up.
It won't be that.
No, it won't. It's not going to be the Flask either, though, and we'll see what decision he does make.
Game could be over in a couple of minutes.
Good
you can't tell him what to build.
I'm not trying to. Not trying to. Fourth Dragon was, of course, picked up here by LGD.
Desperation stuff coming out of OMG here. They're just trying to stack in brushes. That's when you know the game definitely not going their favor. Mid lane has super creeps pushing in. Uzi's backed away to deal with that. And all of a sudden, the go button can be hit from a very long way away. They're pushing in a wave in the bottom lane. And Uzi, he's not going to be able to join in time if they do go.
Yeah, and this turret is most definitely dead. Imp gets the last auto attack down there as well. And
one thing Dragon, minute 50 away.
And that may just be the final nail in the coffin here for OMG. They are down by 12,000 gold. It's very reminiscent of the last game. LGD with what looks like yet another shutout. They're just doing it differently this time.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they might have spotted out a very greedy Uzi, although wards everywhere. Raptor sense on Acorn. He's not the jungler, he's the top lane. Just has a smite, so he still gets that one.
Bit confusing.
And Uzi, he's trying to absorb the farm for the team. This is desperation in OMG mode, where they're just rotating Uzi into the free lanes to get the farm. But unfortunately, you just feel that even if he gets to the 6-item mark, they have the tools to deal with him.
Yeah, well, Acorn's been demonstrating over and over again that he doesn't die in team fights, and he's able to get exactly where he wants to just because he's so incredibly fast and so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, exactly right. He doesn't have the teleport available yet, has gone that home guard enchant. Have to see how he rotates around here. They're able to steal away another blue buff. I believe Cool's only had one for the entirety of this 35-minute game.
Yep.
He's been once again completely picked on in this one as they stop Acorn's back. Probably don't want to prod him too much going.
Yeah, he is going to run very fast away from that sapling, though. Apparently, horses don't really like little trees because he looked very frightened. But going able to continue this split push here as well. Loveling is playing defense around here. You can see so many offensive wards here by LGD, just lining the edge of OMG's base, looking for their way in. We'll see whether they do put pressure on the top or the bottom lane, but OMG looks like they've managed to get the minion wave pushing in the bottom.
Yeah, they're not pushing out at all though, Atlas, and it's 10 seconds until the 5th dragon. They're deciding not to fight. And sometimes not fighting over objectives like this just mean that you don't have a window back in the game. It's a horrible fight to take. I'm not going to say that they have any chance of winning it, but winning a team fight around Dragon as opposed to being dove by a 5-dragon lineup like
Dragon and Baron.
LGD have put together, honestly, I would probably rather just go down swinging at Dragon.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I like to call it the snake approach. Just fight all the time. See whether people can just die, as Loveling is actually going to face check this bush. Immediately uses the flash and the ultimate and the body slam to get him out of there. That is a very frightened Gragas, and 5th dragon, that makes absolute sense as this Baron is just getting torn to shreds. Liliandry's Torment helping out there, but you have to think that it's just the dragon. It's just doing ridiculous stuff as Imp's able to lock that one down and going. They're clearing out this mid wave. OMG thinking, yes, we've got our inhibitor back, but man, there are so many buffs rotating around LGD. They're looking just to finish this game.
Yeah, and they might just be thinking about next game, trying to prolong this one for as much as possible, get some talks in, although Loveling looks completely silent. As they push into the base, there is no way OMG can fight against this lineup now. They're just 5-dragon. They've got the Baron. Top lane's already prepped. They're going to be able to exit the base. They're just sending the Hecarim bottom lane to go grab that. Probably a little bit premature. He's only just got his teleport back available now. And
oh my god. That was ridiculous. There's a 3-man ult coming through from TBQ, as well as Loveling's getting taken down low as Uzi. He's going to be the focus here as Acorn just running really fast, looking for something, but it doesn't matter. Everyone's just dying in this fight. The inhibitor, it's going to fall down in the top lane. 16-6 now with the kills as Acorn just ults for fun. These Nexus turrets going to fall, and LGD with back-to-back shutout performances.
Yeah, and once again, it was in very emphatic fashion.
Look at Godby. He's like, yeah, I got Orianna again.
Yeah, just 100-0 her.
Yeah.
Well
and Cool
played.
looks like he's just been 100-0.
Yeah, he's not a happy man right now. And why would he be? He's down 0-2, do or die time now for OMG.
Yeah.
This was the team that we touted, the all-Chinese lineup coming through. Pretty much the Chinese superstar team.
Exactly.
That you could put together at this point in time, and they're getting outclassed. And honestly, it's every single lane. Imp and PYL, Uzi probably got the better of them that time around. He did very well in the laning phase.
He did.
But what they're very good at doing is understanding, okay, we're not in a position to have to force now. Godby, as well as TBQ, were just doing work in the mid lane. Acorn was absolutely punishing the passive lane that came through from Hecarim. It's what we've always said, you can play anything against it. And then when it came to late game, even farm, with all the passive objective picked up from Siva, meant that even she was ahead. They just were able to run through everything.
Yeah. And LGD, they just looked brilliant across the board, and they never made that over-aggressive play. You just didn't see a mistake coming through. You didn't see a way back in for OMG. But, ladies and gentlemen, it all may change in Game 3. Of course, the best-of-5 series may see OMG back into this one. We could have a long night coming through, but We're going to have a short break. We'll be back very, very soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our English coverage of the Chinese LPL playoffs. OMG taking on LGD, and LGD again with another 13,000 gold lead at about the half-hour point, and man, this team is looking so strong.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they did it in a different way this time, Atlas. It wasn't Imp going berserk, it was Godby and Acorn in the top lane running rampant over a team. By the end of the game, Godby could one-shot Cool. That was just the story of OMG's match, and it was held together by TBQ again, and Lovelink needs to step up in Game 3. If a player is going to really lift the bar of this series, you feel it has to be OMG's jungler.
And it has to be early as well. They can't go to the late game, because if they have a team that can get out-skirmished by LGD, it might just all happen again.
Yeah, exactly right. It seems to be a recurrent theme. These teams playing for the late game, not being able to get it done, and just losing way too much in the mid game. I don't know how OMG get back into it. They need something special to really get them going.
Yeah, they need something to really help them, I don't know, get the motivation in order to win. And it's just not working so
Look
far.
at that jungle control,
That's
73% to 27. The MVP was Godby. Why not? 5-0-8 was an absolute monster in that game.
And that was disgusting as well. He managed to pick up so many incredible items. His build path was beautiful into that game as well. In the end, one-shotting Cool there from 100% with just a shockwave dissonance, I believe. It was just brutal to see. And man, we'll see what happens in Game 3, because LGD, they're looking to do the clean sweep over OMG, who we were touting as one of the best teams in the world at the beginning of the LPL.
Yeah, we certainly were, but they've just dropped off. They look like they haven't got it back together. And do they make a roster swap? Is this a time to bring Ji Young back in? Does San play? I don't know. Like, benching Uzi seems a bit extreme in a final. I don't think he'll be too happy with me for mentioning it, and I don't think it's going to happen. But do you go something berserk and just try and blow LGD out of the water? Do you do it in the pick phase? Do you just go super early game, pick Lucian, pick Annie, try and dominate laning phases and really get yourself ahead? Because if they repeat the exact same tactic again, you just know it's not going to work.
Yeah, LGD just look too comfortable playing this sort of mid to late game style where they can shut out their opponents. They wait to the level 6. There's no real early jungle pressure coming through from either of these junglers. TBQ and Loveling more than happy to farm it out, maybe meet each other at a Rift Scuttler every now and again, but otherwise it sort of all erupts around that level 5 to 6 mark. They're most likely in the mid lane, but they're executing it far better on the side of LGD.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they had a very press R composition this time coming out of LGD. They were able to Nautilus, Hecarim, Sejuani, throw in an Orianna and a Sivir for good measure. They just all hit their R button at the same time and kind of cross their fingers. Even when it didn't come off, they really were dominating the mid-game team fight, so you can't say that that's where their composition stopped. But the synergy between OMG's lineup really wasn't there. They had some anti-dive. I don't really know what else they were going for. They weren't able to get in there.
Oh, and look at this. Acorn's out, and Princess Flame on the lineup. Prince Flame. Prince Flame.
Yep, okay. I'm just going to not even go anywhere near that one, Atlas. But Flame is in. We've seen that he's been happy to have these rampant games on the likes of Shyvana, and I really can't wait to see what he goes with. As you see, the light nearly radiance out of that guy's skin. League of Legends royalty is so good coming in. You see the couple of Maokai teams. I'm not touching the princess line.
Oh, okay, right, got it. But, of course, Flame has had some up and down performances thus far in the LPL. Hasn't really seen as much airtime as Acorn has, but man, when he gets going, he is terrifying to deal with. Of course, was always that incredible carry top laner, but has been playing a lot of the tanks.
Yeah, certainly has, and you feel that the Smite teleport meta fits him to a T. If there's a player, you really give it back to its Flame because you can completely take over a lane and dominate 1v3 in certain scenarios with Shyvana, with Hecarim. We've even seen Jax try and pull it off up there in the top lane, and you can just go completely nuts. And I like the fact that LGD, they're the ones that are mixing it up. They're not resting on their laurels, trying to get something going different into this Game 3 and get their full sweep finished off. But we're straight away into Champion Select.
Yeah, red side for LGD. OMG going to ban away Urgot here first up. They are changing the order in which they ban away Urgot, but it is going to hit the bench one more time. Uzi not going to want to pick that one up, nor does Cool, of course. It has been played in the mid lane as well, and it is going to be LeBlanc taken away from Cool. And we'll see what OMG end up with in the ban list, because they need to change something. I don't know whether it's in the bans, whether it's in the picks, what it needs to be, but something has to change to help get OMG back into this one. And maybe it's the fact that Flame's playing and not Acorn.
Yeah, maybe, but they ban away the Orianna. That's a good first step. Do they hit the Kalista next? We've seen both. We saw that they picked it on the red side, LGD, then banned it on the blue side. Sejuani hitting the bench here. They've shown how strong it is. Now get rid of that one.
Yep. Lovely. Lovely not going to be able to first pick that. Of course, Sejuani was lapped up very quickly by LGD in the last draft. Nunu also taken away. TBQ not going to see that one for the rest of the series.
I think they have to ban Kalista here. Get it away from Uzi. It's just such a strong snowballing champion. You don't want to get him going in the last game.
Or do they have an answer for it? Because, of course, they have played it into LGD before and it didn't work.
Yeah, they certainly might. They might go the Graves and just all in on the mid game. Don't think that it's a current meta.
That's
You're
true.
right. Certainly, there is counterplay around Kalista. We've seen it the whole time. Do they just lock in support Nautilus and use that to shut it down?
Well, they have taken away the Janna here. Cloud not going to be on that champion. Actually played it 2 games running here as well. And banning Janna might mean that Flame could be on camera.
Yeah, certainly could be the potential pickup there as we see going. He locks in the Hecarim for himself. So trying to get that one away from Flame. Of course, Flame a fantastic
shout out to going there by hovering the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, potentially. And we see actually the Trundle being hovered here in response. Would be very surprised if that's the case. TBQ taking a very good look at Gragas right now, with Nunu as well as Sejuani being picked up. Probably the next best tank jungler in the current meta.
Yep, true. Well, we'll see how this one goes. Of course, Flame hovering over the Gnar, wanting to take that one into the top lane. Kalista not even looked at by either of these teams. We'll see whether that one does come through in this draft, but it is going to be Gnar and Gragas. Oh, Kalista swapped at the last second, and Imp is going to be on that one yet again. And man, if he has a performance like he did in the first game, this one could be a 3-0 series pretty quickly for LGD.
And this is real risky. If they go with a Thresh pickup here over something like the Cannon, I'm going to be real surprised. They do go with it. There's not much disengage. They've got the Maokai also.
They've got
in
Nautilus
the top lane.
here. They could pick Nautilus. LGD have the opportunity.
They could just go Cannon. Game 1 again, just pick him up, lob him into the team. PYL's shown that he's more than happy to play it.
Yep,
and you layer that with something like a Gnar, any lockdown CC that you can think of, it's just going to be a completely devastating combo. They are actually taking a good look at the Nautilus. You pointed that one out. Also works very well with Kalista. That's what they go with.
Yeah, they are going to take that one. Of course, PYL had a decent showing on that one before, and just so much guaranteed CC with the depth charge. But Uzi, that's the first time I've seen him with a slight smirk. There is happiness in that man, and seems like maybe he has a plan here for LGD.
I certainly hope he has something up his sleeve. He's actually, yeah, he's giving a slight
having a
chuckle
grin
there.
And look, Of course, people normally grin. Uzi doesn't.
Yeah, well,
that's not what you don't see that.
I think he was just saying, I'm going to pick Vayne. His team's like, please do not lock in Jinx. But I actually have the control here. I'm going to pick Vayne. But it does look like it's going to be Jinx.
Yeah, Jinx is being considered here. It is going to be Azir for the mid lane for Cool as well. It's Uzi back on a hyper carry, but it doesn't look like they're going for the early pressure.
Okay, so one thing
and
we have to
who's
point
jungling?
out. Yeah. Well, that is a jungle Maokai.
Yeah.
100%.
That is very perplexing because, of course, you assume when it's OMG that that's going to be a support Maokai.
No, you don't. As you see, now Godby taking a serious look at Kassadin. That's been banned a couple of times. We mentioned that it does well against the Azir, depending on how the lane goes.
Ish. Assassin certainly did well.
Yeah, Assassin did very well on it, and that's what the lock-in is.
Yeah, and Imp is going to be taking the Kalista into that bottom lane as well. They have a terrifying lineup, and if Godby has a similar performance to what he's had over the last 2 games, now on Kassadin, things could get very out of control come the later stages of the game, but there is a definite trough at the beginning.
Yeah, there certainly is, and I've been waiting for this day for years, Atlas, the return of Jungle Maokai.
Oh my goodness, you could get back into competitive play.
We're so popular in the early season.
I'm going to lose my analytical caster. We're done. Oh dear.
No, can't go double GP10 into Oracles anymore. I'm done. As you see, it was actually swapped into the top lane, so it's going to be Hecarim jungle.
Yeah, so a bit of an insec impression being done here by Loveling.
Now I'm real sad.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. So at least you're going to still be a caster. Thank goodness. Not going to be solo casting.
Actually not. So the graphics are wrong. I actually think it is a jungle Maokai coming through. It's a Azir versus Kassadin in the mid lane. That can go either way. You really don't know. This is a lane I'm interested in. It's Jinx Thresh, which is a very good 2v1 lane, struggles sometimes into the 2v2 versus Kalista Nautilus. And that in its own right, pretty scary 2v1 lane.
Yeah.
But does extremely well at level 6 in the 2v2.
It does. That depth charge is ridiculous, especially if they manage to at least pick themselves up a gank of some kind. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get on to the Rift. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. OMG grouping up here for the 3rd game against LGD. LGD up 2. They put Flame back into the lineup. He's heading solo towards the top side, and we've got a defensive fan for LGD. But OMG have got some funny considerations coming through for the early levels.
Yeah, they certainly do. They're a 5-man stack in bottom lane, now looking to try and catch Imp out. I don't think he will have spotted them. And now they're in very... Wow.
Oh, there's the Flash Twisted advance as well. Imp gets Death Sentence. That's going to be first blood. As that's going to go to Loveling as well. And that's fantastic. If there's ever a time to give a kill to a jungler, it is right then at level 1.
Yeah, it certainly is. It means that he can grab half of his jungle, go back straight away, pick up the rest of it. But he has had to take W level 1, which isn't a great thing for Maokai jungles. Does percentage health damage now. Might help a little bit, but was notoriously bad.
At least he gets a Ruby Crystal by picking up the kill.
Yeah, he certainly does.
If that's what he decides to pick up. Not entirely sure. Might just get boots and some pots.
Oh, boots start. That was a great start. I miss old jungle.
You're just going to get nostalgic throughout this entire game, aren't you?
I'm legitimately Maokai right now. No, that's Skarner. Who misses their kind?
That's Skarner.
That is Skarner.
And he does miss his kind. Imp misses that life that he had before, but has made it back here. Decides that he's going to kill his support, of course, in order to make that that pact with him as well. PYL is going to share his fate as they take down the Gromp here as well, with help by TBQ. I think TBQ actually going to be able to take that one away. So no level advantage here for the bottom lane of LGD.
Maokai actually struggling a little bit in the jungle early. Has had to take W, of course. We mentioned that. We'll get level 2 where he can grab the Q, the Arcane Smash. Will be able to keep himself alive pretty well because of the regen that comes through. The additional potions would definitely help though, and he's cleared it up. It was a little bit slower than he perhaps would have liked, as you see TBQ already starting up his buff, but standard lanes coming through for the Hecarim, for the Nut.
Yeah, and of course for the Kalista and this Nautilus as well into the Jinx Thresh.
I think that has to favor Maokai. He was notoriously a good ganker. In fact, you used to just pack up and leave your jungle after level 3 and pretty much never go back because he was just so good at getting into lanes and impacting them. Without his flash available, won't be able to go for the extremely long twisted advance, but as a point-click CC Atlas that puts you behind them, setting you up for the arcane smash. It's just so effective in what is some pretty dangerous lanes coming through for LGD.
Yeah, and already actually Flame buys a pink ward and teleports back to his lane. He's behind in farm just a little bit as Going did head back there as well. Picked up himself some cloth armor just to weather the storm. Flame about to go into that Mega Gnar form, but probably not going to be able to get too much pressure down as Godby is able to farm out relatively well here against the Azir as TBQ, coming into this bottom
Actually
side.
shows that's horrible news. He's going to get counter jungled by Maokai of all people. It's probably not what you want in the early game as Gragas needs to get back into his jungle quick smart.
Yeah, he's heading there as quickly as he possibly can.
All of his lanes are being pushed in. Even if he gets back in time, there's not really much they can do about it because Going as well as Cool are just putting so much pressure on Flame and Godby.
Yeah, Loveling's going to take a barrel though. So of course loses his Raptors but keeps his red buff. Death Sentence going to go wide here by Cloud. Zimp able to get some damage down. Uzi, depth charge there. Really nice play though, and those chompers were perfectly placed. Imp unable to get any trade damage through. As the Lantern does shield up Uzi just a little bit, but still loses half of his health. Does still have his potion available as Imp also sitting on his at the same time. Cloud. Oh, PYL actually going super aggressive. Titan's Wrath there. There's the depth charge. Really nice play again. Is Cloud able to disengage from these fights, and Imp and POL just deciding that they want to zone
into that.
Yep, that is going to be the heal used as well as the Ignites down. Uzi though, one last auto attack. Imp picks up the kill. That is going to be second blood. Almost first there, but of course that level 1 with Imp falling down early was very, very strong. Cloud picks it up with a flay and Loveling doesn't even get the assist. Of course, they knew that he was coming down. Nice dredge line to save PYL, but it is a 1-for-1 in the end, but support picking up kill credit for AD Carry.
Yeah, and all the experience going to be denied away from Uzi, so they're trying to freeze this lane up to get him back in range for that. Straight away, Boots 2 being picked up by Imp. Just going for one of, honestly, the most gold-efficient buys in the game as an AD carry. Means that your attack speeds up for your Ren to stack very well. Gives you the ability to be able to dodge out of all the CC that Thresh has in his kit as well. Really good pickup there coming through from Imp. And it's about... Thrift shopping really is the name of the game right now as an AD carry. You just buy what you have gold for.
Yeah. And it's good to see Imp actually managing to do that well, as Godby doesn't have a whole lot of mana, neither does Cool. Both of these mid laners on very even CS, but Godby actually ahead just a bit, wants to go back, so not too worried about the fact that he's getting pushed out. And Loveling not going to find him here as well. Raptor buff going to let him know that he's seen by a ward as Flame continues relentlessly pushing here in this top side of the map. Going now going to go aggressive as the rampages are going to come through, but Little Nah does have his bounce available and he's going to be fine. And you can see Flame, that pink ward's going to be there for quite some time.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they're going to just be completely left alone in the top side. If anyone knows how to harass with a ranged top laner, it probably will be Flame. Of course, you mentioned his cannon. Mini-Nar's kind of very similar to Cannon. You want to build up the 3 auto attacks and be able to get that through. As Loveling and Cloud, they're just waiting on top of a ward. Nothing going to happen in that bottom lane, boys. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, but it is meaning that a 15 CS lead is being built up by Uzi as he's stacking that wave towards Imp and PYL. And we'll see how this lane goes now that the pickaxe has been completed by Uzi. Those rockets able to do a lot of
Wow, Flame goes aggressive.
Yeah, super aggressive. That's going to be the wallop coming through as well as he lands the boulder, gets the ultimate out of Going. That's big news, of course. He's going to be up relatively soon, but Flame just asserting his dominance in the top side of the map.
Yeah, certainly is, and now it goes back into Mini-Gnar at the perfect time. Going to be able to harass under the turret. That's why it's so effective to push Hecarim in early game. Going to be able to get all the hyper procs down. Actually, as I say that, he misses every single...
Yeah, let's just
missed the boomerang and cancelled an auto to make sure he got no hyper procs in.
Unfortunate. Uzi's going to be able to throw out some long-range rockets, though. It is going to be Imp catching back up here in the CS. And this bottom lane, as far as the laning phase is concerned, has always gone so incredibly close. These AD carries both incredibly good.
Yeah, laning phase really, unless it's like an outright counter matchup, something really crazy like Jinx into Sivir. I think Jinx just wins. Wow, gank.
Yeah, there's actually the flash play as well as P-Whale gets death sentence. Look at him pulled all the way back here. He's fairly tanky. Beautiful dredge line picks the gap, and look at all of the Rens coming through. Uzi picks up the kill. Loveling's going to die, though, as the Ren sets are coming down now for Imp, and Cloud's going to die as well. It's a 1 for 2 thus far. And it's a bit of a battle in the mid lane as well, as Godby, level 7, has the Rift Walk, has almost a CS. He's behind by a couple of CS, but he's doing well.
Was actually defending the pink ward there. Azir loves to be able to throw that Sand Soldier over the wall and get the pink ward done, but Godby wants absolutely none of that.
And look at his trading potential as well with the Q. So beautifully done.
It's the Q and the Catalyst Atlas. It comes through at very good timing. When you have the 4 points, you generally go back and get the Catalyst. And it means you can just trade with reckless abandon, as you like to say, because you're able to get in there.
You're not allowed to use it in context? Oh, man.
You trade extremely well, and then if you ever take a negative trade, pretty much you just level up as Flame. His pink wall got taken down. He wants none of that. Throws another one in the brush.
Yep.
Trying to keep the threat of a gank there the entirety of the time. And game much closer this time around, but LGD, they're starting to eke out tiny advantages.
Yeah, and it's Flame actually going for the Sunfire Cape build here as well, unless he just wants to sit on that Barmy Cinder just to try and keep that one in his back pocket, allow him to push out this wave a little bit quicker. Of course, as a ranged champion, it's a little bit confusing, but he is able to stand on those ranged minions in order to help get them down.
It's a pretty cost-effective item, actually, Barmy Cinder coming through there for the damage that it does in the mid-game. It gives you a little bit more mixed damage coming through. It means that when he dives onto the back line, he's always going to have be a reasonable threat. Is finally cool, gets to take out that pink ward. Life's work completed. He'll have a smile on his face after that one.
One can only hope. He was looking all frowns before. But this game on a knife's edge at this stage, 200 gold in it, that is about nothing here as Godby going aggressive. Actually, there's the Emperor's Divide. Godby doesn't have the Rift Walk back up just yet as he flashes over the wall. Loveling going to follow him with the Twisted Advance. Godby trying to find his way out the back. Super Mega Death Rocket, and Loveling ensures the assist for Uzi.
Yeah, able to get in there, and this is, wow, really flashback time, Atlas. He's finished his jungle items and picked up Moby Boots.
Oh, you sound so excited.
As wow, goes aggressive.
Yeah, actually using his ult offensively this time around as Flame just going to be building Rage, sort of shrugged that one off like it was nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't really care, to be honest.
Yeah, wasn't too bothered, but of course, message sent. OMG going to be able to take down the first dragon, though, this game. And LGD, they've had a monopoly on this objective. Things going differently this time around now. Is OMG able to secure this one? Loveling picks it up with the jungle Maokai. And he's 2-1-1. He's had a lot of impact this game.
2-1-1. The return of Maokai into the meta. You see, just good vision control with the saplings. Good sustain.
How you call like the most popular top laner in the meta at the moment the return to the meta.
It doesn't matter. Top lane Maokai. That's
what even is that?
Who plays that?
Oh my goodness. Imp and P-Whale have hit level 6 though. The depth charge as well as that Fate's Call are going to be available. They're looking to try and find a pick of some kind as TBQ. He's here as well, and Uzi, you are dead.
Yeah, he certainly is. Gets the Lantern, though. Might be
available. Oh, takes it! And, oh my gosh, TBQ tried to get the explosive cask in the right spot, but didn't land it in time.
Yes, didn't, but they might be able to go for a dive here. No one in the same territory. They're bringing TBQ back. Still has the Flash Body Slam available. Uzi has all of his summoner spells, and there's an exhaust, so they need to be careful, but they might just go for it.
Yeah, they're looking for something here towards the bottom side. But not going to find it. Uzi takes a fair bit of damage. Has a bit of a CS advantage, but it was a lot larger before. Imp has made that gap a little bit smaller. TBQ's going to find cool, actually. Going very aggressive. There's the E. Emperor's Divide going to be used. That's a big cooldown just to try and save his life in transition.
Yeah, but better use an ultimate than sit on it and die, and that's definitely what would have happened if he didn't burn it. So in the end, he uses an ultimate, saves his life. Probably going to take that trade.
Well, still not going to be up for any fight that is going to ensue. But, of course, Dragon not available. Nothing that OMG really want to fight around. And we'll see whether he can still stand toe-to-toe in this lane with Godby as that one is down.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that one works out. And in the mid lane, Godby's got a CS advantage, but has got that kill against him as Maokai was able to fly into the lane and really disrupt that. Maokai's gank, flash nearly available, so his ganking becomes once again extremely scary with that W. And going. He challenges Flame again. Flame walks away again.
Yep, not too worried about this one at all. Wallop going to come through as he starts his annoying moves on this mini now, but going, sort of ignoring it now. The Hyperprocs come through, the bounce comes out. And Flame may need to head back to base. TBQ heading back as well, as Chain Vest has been completed by Flame on his way towards that Sunfire Cape.
Yeah, so we'll be able to pick it up. That's his mid-game item of choice. Maybe the same philosophy behind that as the Frozen Mallet, but just gives you a little bit more defensive feel in the first couple of major dragon fights that come through as well. Cool. He's starting to get the better end of this lane at a time I didn't expect it to go. I thought it would be better early and then transition to much worse, but that Maokai gang seems to have turned it around.
Yeah, of course. Godby actually playing a little bit further back to sides. He wants to pick up his Rod of Ages now at 13.5 minutes, and it's a nice timing as there's, in fact, TBQ. My goodness, that death sentence was wonderful as OMG just collapsing on the jungler. Flashes over the Super Mega Death Rocket as Loveland comes back around as well. PWL slows them down with the Riptide and then gets out with the Q. Beautiful stuff. Depth charge for the turnaround. Godby's here as well. Empress Divide stops Flame's assault, but he lands the rocket. Imp comes in. The barrier. That ain't going to be enough. And Imp, he wants to throw his support into this fight. PYL tries to go more aggressive. And man, LGD's ability to turn a team fight is beautiful.
Yeah, the collapse was there, Atlas, and in the end, they went way too aggressive. OMG should have just been content. They forced TBQ out of it. Could have got some deep vision around instead. Overextend, push the envelope a little bit too far and give away what they got from that good movement. In the end, the game's completely tied up. No one's really got an advantage, but the thing to note is the fact that Maokai, he's grabbed 2 kills for his team, whereas it's Imp on the other side of the rift. He's 3-2-1, has the Bloodthirster as well as Boots too, to just the Infinity Edge. No attack speed modifiers coming through, but the minigun so far for Uzi. Going to be in a much better position in the mid game.
And Callista, of course, just fantastic in the mid game anyway, but we'll see whether Uzi can manage to go back and potentially pick up. If he got a Zeal at this stage, he might actually be able to stand toe-to-toe.
Yeah, but he only has 500 gold, so no Zeal coming through.
Happen. A little bit unfortunate. Does still have the CS advantage, though, as Uzi does get a lot of his gold from those kills that he picked up. Cool, going to be able to get a blue buff, and now going to clear out this wave as well as LGD clearing out this bottom lane. Of course, no turrets have fallen down just yet. And
Gang coming through onto Godby here from Cloud.
Oh, Death Sentence, that was so close. Godby just going to be able to clear out this ward, just sweeps it up, no worries at all. And TBQ going to take down the red buff and continue his assault on the jungle. Cool, going to take down the Raptors. So far, CS advantage by Kassadin in the mid lane, about 20 as going. Devastatingly charges his way into a cannon creep, and Flame just going to not really bother. But look at this. The Sunfire Cape actually doing some work on a going as Flame's able to answer back with a bit of damage.
Yeah, so gets the Hyper through his Godby. Loveling trying to get in there. Actually just places another ward for vision. And one thing you have to say about the entirety of this series is that the top lane... Wow!
Oh my goodness, gets him out of the E. Another ult to come through, but gets slowed down. Oh my gosh, PYL is so good on this Nautilus. That was another max rage dredge line, and going was trying to back, and Flame just being annoying.
Yeah, very cute coming through there from Princess Flame, as you pointed out before the game, and just able to be a little bit annoying to going.
I'm not touching that.
Both sides, both top laners for LGD so far have been absolutely on point with their teleports, their map movements, able to get down and impact. And they've rendered going a little bit useless throughout the entirety of the season, not having the impact he would want. Has 135 CS, now working towards a Trinity Force. I'm sure he is banking on himself to be the man that can shut down Uzi this time around. But if games 1 and 2 have shown us everything, it's that Flame and Acorn, they're probably going to be able to do just as much work on the back line.
Yeah, well, of course, Acorn definitely proved it, and Flame has thus far definitely demonstrated exactly the same fact. We'll see how it goes moving forward. Of course, Flame now picks up some Ninja Tabis as well as Cool trying to get Godby out of this lane, but there's not a whole lot he can do, and as time goes on, this Rod of Ages is just going to get stacked and stacked and stacked. It's already stacked for about 4 minutes at this stage, and he's going to hit a big old power spike when that Athene's Unholy Grail comes through, and he's just going to be able to rift walk around, pick up some kills, and get all of that mana back and just do so much damage in these team fights. And again, it's very much similar to what his playstyle has been. It's consistent damage.
Yeah, it certainly is, and able to get in there as Flame and Go going once again. Butt heads in this top lane. Flame about to transform. Doesn't grab his.
Come on, man.
Doesn't grab his boomerang. Oh, jumps on him.
Yeah, looks for it. The wallop is going to be there. Slows Go going down. In fact, stops him as the Gnar goes into the wall as well. Flame looking to really go aggressive in this fight. Doesn't quite have his boulder, though. So he's going to head back towards his turret. Decent trade.
Uzi in the end able to take down the bottom lane turret.
Yeah, first turret.
That happens every now and again when you're a top laner. You think, I haven't done many of my buttons so far. Let's give it a crack.
Yep. In fact, Go-Going does have the ultimate advantage here. And Skirmishes was used in that last one. We'll see who actually manages to pick up anything if Go-Going is going to go more aggressive. And Godby hanging around in this mid lane.
Wants to get aggressive again onto Cool. TBQ, you can see, is nice and in behind him. So they might even look for a turret dive here. PYL joining them in the mid lane. That's a very big tell that you're about to be dove. As soon as someone riff walks onto a creep wave, you're like, I think there are more than one person here.
Yeah, but cool. Able to clear out this minion wave. No worries at all. Uzi's going to pick up the red buff.
Oh, they're going for Go-Going here. He might have just seen that ward go down behind him. He has to know something's going on.
Yeah, Flame does tag him with the boomerang, though, as TBQ misses the body slam. Doesn't get the slowdown either. They don't use too much to LGD, but positional advantage now given to OMG around this mid lane outer turret. We'll see whether Imp can clear this one out in time, as LGD, they're not even be able to get too much damage on Super Mega Deathrock, and Imp just gets dove. Loveling, pretty tanky with that Cinder Hulk, and Uzi gets excited after taking down the second turret of the game as well. They're just rotating this Jinx, and LGD have been caught with their pants down.
Yeah, they certainly have POL caught.
Yeah, and he's just going to get exploded. Loveling picks that one up. Emperor's Divide is there. TBQ manages to split up the fight, and Flame teleports in as well. Cloud, he might go down as Hyper is available for Flame. He's about to transform. Is the Gnar going to be there? No, he just gets torn to shreds. As Zap not going to find TBQ, but OMG ran over that section of the game.
Yeah, they certainly did, and it's got them their first meaningful lead. It's going to be about 3,000 gold, Atlas. At 20 minutes in, they've picked up some kills onto Uzi. 2-1 and 5, 100% kill participation. He's having a much better game 3.
Yeah, this Jinx is definitely starting to go off, and I don't know why Imp was waiting underneath that turret when that's a really tanky Maokai, and you know that he can just dive you.
Yeah, so he was able to get in there. He had the Cinder Hulk. He had the Sightstone as well. It's just so much extra stats. You can take the extra turret shot coming through there, and in the end, it just works out in their favor.
Yep, Sun Turret is going to fall down. Imp trying to ignore what just happened and clear out this minion wave. Almost has that Hurricane completed as well as that Bloodthirster in the bottom side of the map. TBQ looking to come down here and get something started as Cloud is here. Uzi about to join him as well as Go-Going pushing in the top lane. And Flame is going to make his way in here. Does have now Null Magic Mantle going for a definite full tank Gnar build. Coming into this top lane. No cheeky Brutalizers or Phages to come down. As he just Goomba stomps a minion. I just find that so satisfying to watch.
Able to clear out the minion wave very well. Once again, jungle is converging. Actually, no, only TBQ in this bottom lane. Imp trying to get that turret down. Needs another couple of shots on it. They must know that, once again, ability to tank a turret shot says jungler is in my lane. Yep. It's like Cassidy riff walking onto a creep wave. There's a jungler here.
Yeah, but Imp able to get the last auto attack down. The minion wave is going to follow through as well. Uzi going to be able to clear that one out. Of course, the gold definitely in favor of Uzi as far as this bottom lane is concerned. Not quite by that 1,000 gold mark just yet, but having any semblance of a lead on a Jinx at this stage of the game is a terrifying prospect for the opposing team.
Red buff invade coming through here from OMG. They'll be able to pick that one up. Actually onto Cool. They've stuck around. Might have been caught out. No, they won't commit.
Nope, not happening. Flame not rotating down in time either, as Imp has made his presence known. He's walked over a pink ward there, and he's going to clear that one away. Godby almost with whichever needlessly large rod item he wants to go for. Looks like it might be the Zhonya's Hourglass option, as he's not going to go for that Athene's Unholy Grail as the second choice.
Yeah, so he's getting in there, wants to be able to get one full rotation down, make sure that he's safe, and then be able to get the second, as opposed to the CDR choice that allows you to have like the ridiculous 1.2 second hop in the end of the game.
Yeah, pretty silly. But Dragon going to be up in another 20 seconds. TBQ towards the top side of the map in vision of OMG.
Yeah, that's a very nice ward coming through there. Teleports also won't be available. Flame pushing in, going means that he might be able to walk down. But honestly, this is the first real team fight where you think OMG probably have a semblance of a lead. They've got the Stinger. They've got a need. Wow. Cool's dead.
Yeah, Depth Charge is going to go off. PYL looking for it. Empress Divide comes through as Godby comes around the top, and PYL has jumped through with the ultimate. TBQ going to flash forward. There's the ultimate to come down as Cool takes a barrel, but he's still alive. LGD looking to pick something up as Loveling so low. Uzi off to the backside gets spotted out by that scrying, or PYL looking to try and continue the assault, but that is 2 dead, and LGD, they're going to pick up their second Dragon.
You say it is a first team fight, you think OMG can win, and LGD catch Cool with his pants down, able to get in there and pick him off. He was just completely useless in the entirety of that fight because he was so low. Then they just swap targets. They don't overcommit into the chase, willing to just switch it up. They take the support down, secure themselves a very important Dragon.
Yeah, and this is all off the back of the fact that Imp picks up that Hurricane very, very recently. It's a really nice buy timing, and it's a huge power spike here for this Kalista.
Yeah, it certainly is. So they're able to get in there, make that one work. Flame about to transform. Going needs to be careful.
Yep, gets the wallop here as well. Flame actually knocking him back into the turret. You can see the turret doing some work here as Going has to run away from this Nah. Boulder is going to be available relatively soon. Going trying to juke it. Yep, looking for something. He lands the boulder, transforms back and gives up.
Yeah, because there's 3 members heading up river. They want to dive him now, Atlas. It's a
4
very
members.
Low turret. He needs to get the heck out of dodge.
Oh, they actually managed to take down that turret. Bounce not quite up just yet. Loveling looking for it. There's a flash Flayer's Flame. He's going to get taken down. Going teleported in to try and get revenge.
Yeah, so they're able to get all 5 members into that top lane. They take down Flame. They take a turret. Might be looking for a second, although it's still a very scary team comp to dive.
Yeah, Ventral Maelstrom popped here for Loveling. He's going through his mana. Descent's not going to land as they manage to clear out the way. PYL, there's the dredge line, and they've started off the fight. OMG still looking good here in the back line, but Imp, look at the Renset potential coming down as Cool gets taken down really low. Look at that ultimate as Imp is going to start tearing through the OMG lineup. That's a kill, a double kill for Godby as Loveling finds himself again about to go down, and this is Cassidy at 25 minutes into the game, and you need to fear him. The triple kill for Godby.
And the Baron now starting up for LGD. That was a 4v5. Really, Gragas didn't even really do that much there. Got his ultimate interrupted by a great hook that came through from PYL, but it was all about the 3-man faked call that came through. Imp, PYL on the exact same page. They pick up the Baron, and all of a sudden, OMG, who were looking very strong, are in danger territory once again.
Yeah, this is terrifying for OMG, and so much standing gold now on the map here for LGD with this Baron buff, with the fact that they've got split pushes available. They've got a massive lineup here that can do damage to these turrets. We'll see whether that Baron buff is going to get them there as they move forward. Godby going to head back, use that empowered recall, and maybe just pick up a Void Stuff. Not entirely sure. Going for that Athene's Unholy Grail now, and I very much like that pick. And man, LGD, it wasn't looking as good before, but now Baron buff picked up, a beautiful team fight, and OMG, they need to kill Imp very early.
And LGD are great at recognizing fights they can win.
Yeah.
Whether they're at an advantage, disadvantage, they know every single time, and they back away when they have to, but they're very good at decisively pulling the trigger. And you have to think, the communication between Imp and PYL for a Korean and a Chinese player only playing 1 season together is completely on point, whether they do it through pings, language. It's just absolutely beautiful to watch in this series.
They do it with feelings, Spawn. The power of goodwill. Yeah, it's just the power of friendship.
Oh, not friendship. That's the worst power.
No, that's what we use in League of Legends. It's a team game. You use the power of friendship to claim victory. As the pause comes through, of course, Pawn is in hospital at the moment, so he's not coming through anywhere. Uzi, you can see lots of concentration on the faces here of OMG. And OMG, they are definitely in with a shot here. It's a 3,000 gold lead for LGD after that beautiful performance into the Baron. But it's not over yet, and We'll see whether OMG can claw their way back through. Of course, Cool, able to get a lot of consistent damage down. They've got a huge scaling lineup, and with Hecarim and the Maokai here, it's pretty frightening.
Yeah, it certainly is, but the worrying thing is Uzi, he's a Fed member. You think that's fantastic, but you look across the Rift, and Godvi, he's 60 CS up on Cool, he's 10 CS up on Uzi even, and he's 5-1-3. The guy's an absolute monster. So you go Fed AD carry, Fed Kassadin.
All right.
Kassadin probably going to win that game of rock, paper, scissors. And then the rest of the team comes through and just cleans it up. TBQ has been on fire. Loveling's had a much better game 3, you have to say.
Oh, yeah.
But TBQ, consistency throughout the entirety of this series, it's just set LGD up for a lot of success.
Yeah, and we've got a replay coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at that last fight.
Yeah, so they go in and you see the hook actually stop Loveling being put back in. So TBQ, he's really done with the fight at this point. It's all about this next part. The Fates call that comes in, knocks up 3 members, and then it's all about the Ren sets, Atlas. We've talked about it all series. If you have someone that can get a member low, and then you have a Callista, say a Kassadin and a Callista combo maybe, just able to get the constant Ren sets coming through, and it's just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, stunning work here from LGD, and that wasn't just a 3-man Fates call. That was a 3-man Fates call onto all of the squishy members of OMG and all of their damage.
Yeah, and with the way the slow's been changed on that Riptide going out, was able to get a lot of CC through, set the Kassadin up for success to jump in there, blow everyone up. And it's just been the consistency throughout the entire series has been there for LGD.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, we do still have a slight pause moving on in this match. Of course, Game 3 between LGD and OMG. And LGD, again, I mean, they moved Flame into the lineup for this last game, and he's looking fantastic. It looks like Acorn hasn't even really left. They still have this incredible synergy. And LGD, they're just playing with confidence that OMG do not have. And I don't know whether that's off the back of just the first game, or whether that's just how LGD have been playing and how they've been feeling throughout this, because they've been picking some pretty strange comps throughout the LPL, and we were wondering what to expect as going. He could be in trouble, and yeah, that's unstoppable for a reason.
Yeah, trades ultimates, though, with TBQ, who you have to feel probably would rather use the Gragas ultimate to get the Hecarim ultimate out every single time. Just keeps Imp a little bit safer if a team fight does break out.
And it is going to be LGD trying to use this Baron here as well. We'll see whether they manage to get a push down on this mid lane. Uzi in the bottom side, that's a lot of their wave clear as Flame just jumps over the top of the turret. Wants to take none of this. The Baron up minion is now going to push forward, and this is just going to melt. And LGD just waltz through the mid lane.
Yeah, and take 2 turrets. Able to now grab a 4,000 gold lead. They're not done. Look at the poke that came through from him. They want to siege up.
Yeah, they're looking for it. Of course, the siege minion there as well, able to consistently take this one down. The ranged wave clear not quite there, as Sand Soldiers are going to be commanded to try and take that one down, but they can't quite make it through. Another wave coming in. Imp able to get some more cheeky auto attacks down. P-Whale all the way in. Fate's called out. They're going to take down the turret. P-Whale actually aggressive. Look at Cool taking so much damage. Emperor's Divide doesn't do too much as Kassadin takes down the turret. Gragas picks up Thresh here on the backside. Going super low. Godby using his Zhonya's. The double kill for TBQ. 2-0-8. For this Gragas. 2-0-9, I'm sorry. And LGD, they're not stopping. They're looking to try and end the game.
They're trying to end the series, Atlas. They go in.
They're looking for it. Cool gets destroyed. That is ridiculous. Godby so good on this Kassadin. Hecarim does take down Flame, but these Nexus turrets now falling down. Imp doing so much damage. OMG get aced and lose the game instantly. 29 minutes. LGD, this is the quickest one yet, 3-0 to OMG. Incredible.
Yeah, the most decisive quarter so far, coming through. LGD able to sweep OMG. Probably rivals how IG dispatched Vici, and both is equally surprising. Vici, OMG, they're already sent packing. We thought these guys were going to be there for the end of it, but wow, they've set themselves up a date with Snake. And LGD, after that performance, they're a real series contender.
Yeah, and if I was a member of Snake watching this series, I would be terrified.
If I am Bucker right there, seeing how Godby just dispatched an Azir player,
Yeah.
I am real scared of what's going to go into that series.
Yeah, and Godvi as well has been playing the lane control champions. These sort of, I want to farm out the waves. That's exactly what Barker wants to do, but he just doesn't have the laning presence. And moving into this one, like you've been mentioning before, I mean, this is looking so terrifying for Snake, but congratulations to LGD. That was a shutout of a massively high caliber team.
That was a clinic of how to play around your power spikes and win conditions. Even when they had a member down, they were still willing to fight because they knew key ultimates weren't available, that they could turn it around, and absolutely speechless because OMG are a world-class lineup, but they were outclassed in most positions the entirety of that series.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that TBQ has improved so much throughout the LPL split. He was sort of arguably a weaker link in the LGD lineup just because they've got so many star players. But man, that last game, 2-0 and 11 on that Gragas, and he's looked so much better at this end of the split.
Yeah, he certainly had. Did it on 3 different jungles as well.
Yeah.
The champion pulls there. Nunu, Sejuani, Gragas, all games looked fantastic.
Yeah, really, really strong. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you today. Of course, more playoffs action is going to be happening tomorrow, so make sure you tune in then. But on behalf of myself, Spawn, Pastry Time, and Papa Smithy, as well as our whole production crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.